For such a time as this, we'll be in Abilene, Texas next week taking on the Wildcats. But tonight, we got to take care of some Tigers, Andre, and I'm ready to get it going on, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are ready to get it going on. Looks like they're still doing the coin toss right now. It looks like Prairie View won the coin toss, Mike, but they will be deferring to the second half. So Texas Southern will be getting the ball first to kick off today's action. It is the 37th annual Labor Day Classic. Broadcasting from Prairie View A&M University, better known as The Hill. And we are ready to get things going, Mike.
Well, let's get it on, my man. And as they say, I will be here when you need me. But as they say, you got this. you got this. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. If you can, if you would, let them know that they can join us tonight by dialing 857-777-0000 and help support the Panthers as they get ready for this 2022 season under the leadership of Bubba McDowell. Now, with enough being said from the old man, I'm going to pass it to the young man, Andre Davis.
Thank you so much, Mike. Again, thank you for joining us on our pregame show, a long and delayed pregame show, if you will. If you're just now tuning in, we did have some weather delays here, some lightning strikes. Game was supposed to start off, broadcast off at 6 o'clock. It is now 7:17, but we are ready to go. The Panthers will be kicking off first. Tigers will be back to receive this one. And back to receive for the Tigers is going to be number 22, Ladarius Owens, the running back, junior running back, Ladarius Owens, back to receive for the Tigers. Tigers will be kicking this one from right to left. And the kick is off, and this one will be fielded at the 1 yard line, just past the 10, past the 15. He breaks one tackle, moving to the left, and he's still going. Past the 40, past the 50. It's a foot race now. Nobody's going to catch him with a block past the 5. And touchdown, Texas Southern. Wow. A 99-yard kickoff return for the Tigers.
That's not what the doctor ordered.
Not what the doctor ordered if you are the Panthers. What better what way to kick off this 37th annual Labor Day Classic? A 99-yard kickoff return for the Tigers, and that was actually number 21, Xavier Lewis, the redshirt freshman.
Wow.
Oh wait, hold the phone. Looks like there was a block in the back. A block in the back against the Tigers. So no touchdown. This ball is going to be placed at the Panthers. Looks to be about the 35-yard line. We're waiting for the official to officially spot the ball. Looks like he's at about the 34-yard line, where he hasn't put the ball down just yet. But there was a block in the back call against the Tigers. So the Panthers will catch a break on that last play as he ran 99 yards from one end to the other. And this one officially be at the 34-yard line of the Panthers. Coming out to the field is going to be the quarterback, Andrew Body. He's got twin receiver set up. And Body's going to fake this one off. He's going to roll to his right, looking downfield, looking, and he's just going to run this one out of bounds. Gain of about 2 yards on the play. Body was looking downfield, trying to see if he can find a man. That was a great coverage for the Panthers defense as he couldn't really find anybody. And he was just running this one out of bounds. So it's going to bring up 2nd and 7 for the Tigers. It looks like the Tigers are going to go with an empty backfield, 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. And it looks like Body is barking something at the line of scrimmage, maybe changing the play call up. He takes this one. It's going to be the quarterback sneak up the middle. He's going to move to the left side, and he's going to be brought down at about the 20-yard line. It's going to be a first down for the Tigers. The Tigers going to go with a hurry-up offense. Twin receiver set up for the Tigers. And a stoppage in the play. Oh, looks like we got a delay of game charge against the Tigers. That's going to back them up 5 yards. So instead of 1st and 10, we got 1st and 15 for the Tigers. Ball placed at the 25-yard line. Twin receiver setup for the Tigers as Lewis is offset to Body's left. And he's going to hand this off to Lewis. Lewis runs to the right side, shares a blocker, shares another blocker, and he's still going, and he's going to be knocked out of bounds at about the 18-yard line, but we do have a flag on the play. This one came from the back judge, so we may have holding against the Tigers. And we have just that. So a holding call against the Tigers is going to back them up 10 yards, so the Tigers are going in the opposite direction, but if you're the Panthers, they're going in the right direction. We still have 1st down. Now we have 1st and I like to call this forever, as TSU still has to get to the Panthers, it's like about the 10-yard line for 1st down. So we still got 1st down. Trips to the right. And he's going to hand this off to Lewis. Lewis has a wide open hole to the left, and he breaks the tackle, and he's hit hard at the 25-yard line. And on the tackle for the Panthers, it's going to be number 19, Bryce Trail. So we have 2nd and about 16 for the Tigers. Tigers going with the hurry up off center, trips to the right. He's going to hand this one off to Lewis. Lewis to the left. Lewis breaks the tackle, and he has a wide open hole. Get past the 5, breaks another tackle. Lewis's shoulder. And is he in? No signal just yet. And they finally give it to him. Touchdown, Tigers. So about a 22-yard run by number 22, Ladarius Owens. And it looks like the Tigers will strike first blood here in today's contest. Got about 12:47 left here on the game clock. And the Tigers are set up to kick the extra point. As we have a slight little delay as we're just waiting. It was a 22-yard scamper by the running back, Ladarius Owens of the Tigers. Just lowers his shoulder. He broke about 2 or 3 tackles on that play to get the touchdown for the Tigers. And the kick is down, kick is up, and it is through. So 7-0 so far here in today's contest in favor of the Tigers. We have about 12:47 left here on the game clock. And we want to remind all of our listeners, we want to thank all of our listeners for joining us in today's broadcast. And we also want to thank you for your patience, as it was a delayed broadcast. Game was originally scheduled to kick off at 6 o'clock. But we are here. We are ready to go. It is SWAC football, and it is college football. And we are so happy that you guys are able to join us. And we also want to take this time to also thank some of our sponsors. We got the Prairie Athletic Club, serving the student athletes since 1986. And for more information on how to become a member, you can dial 936-857-5817. And if you'd like to become a listening partner, you can become a listening partner by visiting the website at obnradio.com. Again, that's obnradio.com. And for just 17 cents a day, your donation will help support the programming at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. You can make a donation through Cash App at obnradio.com. And we also want to remind all of our listeners to join us for the 1876 postgame show on Spreaker.com. That's SPREAKER.com on the Open Mic, on the Mike Prince Show. You can join in by going to the website at obnradio.com, and you can look for the Mike Prince Show. Again, that's the 1876 post-game show, which is basically our show where we're going to just wrap up our thoughts for today's contest. This is the 37th annual Labor Day Classic, and we're broadcasting live from Prairie A&M University, better known as The Hill. Looks like we still got a delay. Today's game is a TV broadcast, so we typically have a delay, especially during touchdowns. as it looks like the kickoff teams are in the process of coming out onto the field.
Well, Andre, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
They're ready to get started. I didn't want to cut you off, but Tigers look pretty sharp, or did the Panthers look pretty dull?
Well, it was a little bit of both, Mike. I mean, the Panthers were kind of going, the Tigers were going in the opposite direction, but it wasn't because of bad play calling or anything like that. More so, they were kicking themselves in their own foot. You had a holding call that backed them up 10 yards. You had a delay game that backed them up another 5 yards. The plays, however, were going for at least 4 or 5 yards per carry. You had the quarterback, Andrew Body, going up the middle for about 5 or 6 yards, and you had the running back in Ladarius Lewis gaining about 7 to 8 yards per carry. So the Tigers are kicking this one off back to receive. This one is number 0, Jalen Howard. And Howard's up the middle. He breaks another tackle, breaks 2 tackles, and he's going to be brought down at about the 37-yard line. So that was the redshirt senior wide receiver, Jalen Howard, on the nice run, kickoff return for the Panthers. That's exactly what they needed to kind of get things going. Now, out onto the field for the Panthers is the redshirt senior quarterback, Treyson Conley. And he's going to be accompanied by the sophomore running back in Jaden Stewart. Stewart offset to Conley's left. Trips to the left for Conley. He's going to hand this off to Stewart. Stewart runs up the middle, and he's going to gain about 6 yards on the play. Getting past the 40 at about the 41-yard line. So it's going to bring up 2nd and 4 for the Panthers. They're going to go with a hurry-up offense. Conley looking over to the sideline, waiting to get the signal. Trips to the left for Conley. And Conley back to receive this, back to throw this one. Nobody's looking. He's nobody downfield. He's going to take this one. He's going to run to the step, run to the left side. He's going to run out of bounds. And it looks like he gained enough for a Panthers first down. Conley was looking downfield, confining the ball, so he just kind of took things in his own hands, runs out of bounds. And looks like we have an official timeout on the field. But we do have a first down in favor of the Panthers. Ball placed at the 48-yard line of the Panthers, so they're right at midfield. Well, it actually looks like we had an injury timeout on the play for the Tigers. That was number 1, Raheem Fuller, the safety. But looks like he's up, kind of walking on his own terms. So that's a good sign for the Tiger fans. So he's walking off the field. Teams are back. Looks like we're ready to get this back going. We 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Ball placed at the 47-yard line. And Conley will hand this one off to Stewart. Stewart up the middle, runs to the left side. He's going to be brought down by a plethora of Tigers. Gains 11 yards on the play. That's another Panthers first down. Panthers going with a hurry-up offense. Conley looking over to the sideline, waiting to get the signal. And Stewart's going to be offset to Conley's right. 1 receiver on each side for Conley. Conley changes the play up a little bit. He's barking at the line of scrimmage. He takes the snap and hands off to Stewart. Stewart cuts to the right side, bounces up the middle, and he's going to be hit hard, but not after gaining 6 yards for the Panthers. Some nice, hard, tough running for the sophomore running back, Jaden Stewart, a guy that we mentioned in our pregame show that received all SWAC preseason honors for the Panthers. Hurry-up offense for the Panthers. Stewart offset to Conley's left. He's going to hand off to Stewart again. And this time he's going to be met at the line of scrimmage. Gain of about 1 yard. He had to fight for that 1 yard. Gain of about 1 yard on the play. So this is going to bring up 3rd and 2 for the Panthers. And we have some substitution coming into the game. Number 5, Ahmad Antoine is going to be checking in for Jaden Stewart. As we have trips to the left, 1 receiver to the right for Conley. And he's going to hand this one off to Ahmad, and he's going to run through the middle, and he's going to gain some tough, positive yards for the Panthers. That's going to be enough for a Panthers first down. 10:22 left here in the first quarter. Our score is 7-0 in favor of the Tigers. as the Panthers are moving right along here, moving right to left. Ball placed at the 29-yard line of the Tigers. Two receivers to the right for Conley. And Conley hands this. Oh, this time he keeps it himself. And he breaks one tackle, runs to the left side, and he's going to have another Panthers first down. Number 14, Treyson Conley, with some tough running for the Panthers. He faked the handoff, tipping himself. It's going to be another Panthers first down. Ball now placed at the 14-yard line of the Tigers. Three receivers to the right, one to the left for Conley. And Antoine offset to Conley's right. And he's going to fake this one off, and he's going to throw it to the left side. He has a man. That pass is caught. And he's going to be brought down after gaining about 5 yards for the Panthers. That was number 18, Christopher Simmons, on the catch for the Panthers. So that's going to bring up 2nd and 5. Ball placed at the 11-yard line of the Tigers. Panthers moving right to left. Just moving right along for the Panthers. Going with another hurry-up offense. Two receivers to the right, two to the left for Conley. Antoine offset to Conley's left. And he hands this one off to Antoine. Antoine runs up the middle. Going to be met at the line of scrimmage, but he keeps his legs moving, keeps trucking, gains about 3 tough yards for the Panthers. So that's going to bring up 3rd and 2. Ball placed at the 8-yard line. And the Panthers trying to slow things down now. One receiver to the right, one to the left for Conley. Antoine offset to his right. This time he's going to hand off to Conley again to get the first down. Keeps his legs moving, and he will have enough for another Panthers first down. So now we have 1st and goal for the Panthers. Ball placed just inside the 5-yard line. They're going to spot this one at the 4-yard line for the Tigers. 7:56 left on the game clock and counting. Panthers moving right to left. 7-0 our score if you're just now tuning in favor of the Tigers. Two receivers set up, one to the right and one to the left for Conley. And he's going to hand this off to Stewart. And Stewart's going to lower his shoulder into the end zone. The ball came loose, but they're going to signal a touchdown as his knee was down before the ball came out. Ground cannot cause a fumble, and that's going to be a touchdown, Panthers. Well, hold the phone. We do have a flag on the play. This came from the right side judge, and it's going to be offside defense. This will be declined. Touchdown, Panthers. So the Panthers respond here in the first quarter with a touchdown of their own, with the PAT to follow. Number 97, Carlos Gomez, is back to try the PAT for the Panthers. Looks like we have a slight little delay here. Not quite sure. It is a touchdown nonetheless. So we're just waiting on the officials to put the ball down so we can get the PAT. Looks like they're still on the field kind of working things out, not quite sure. But nonetheless, it was a touchdown for the Panthers, and it was by the running back, Jaden Stewart, a guy that we mentioned in our pregame show, have been mentioned so far here in the first quarter. He checked back in for the Panthers and was able to scamper for a 4-yard touchdown run for the Panthers. And that's just what the doctor ordered if you are Panther Nation. Looks like they're still sorting some things out. Finally got everything under control. And number 97, the kicker, Carlos Villagomez, is back to try the PAT for the Panthers. And the kick is up, and it is good. So with 7:39 here remaining in the first quarter, the Panthers drive 70 yards for a touchdown of their own. 7-7 our score here in the first quarter.
And Andre, with that being said, the Panthers respond, and we're going to give you some scoring update from the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Currently, there's a rain delay in, let's just say lightning delay between Alcorn and Stephen F. Austin, and they had yet to start that one off. Grambling is playing Arkansas State. They are trailing 30-0 in the second quarter, and at halftime, Southern University all over Florida Memorial by the score of 56-0.
Well, thank you, Mike, for giving us that. And one thing that we got to point out, that I want to point out here in this last drive for the Panthers only attempted one pass for that entire drive. They came out strong. They came out very aggressive, and they pretty much said, look, we're going to run this ball down your throat. And they did just that with the likes of Jaden Stewart, the running back whom we mentioned before here in today's broadcast. Treyson Conley kind of took off for a couple of plays for the Panthers as well. Kind of gained a couple of first downs for the Panthers, and then the junior running back Ahmad Antoine came in and checked in for Jaden Stewart, and he picked up a couple of first downs on the ground for the Panthers as well. So they stick with the ground game on that last drive. 70 yards they traveled from one end to the other, and they was able to answer with a touchdown of their own. So we have 7:39 here remaining in the first quarter. Teams haven't come out to the field just yet. This is an ESPN broadcast, so there will be a slight delay after touchdowns. As you can hear the sound of the marching storm, the beautiful sound, should I say, of the marching storm.
Well, between the marching storm and the ocean of soul, we got plenty of water to go with this rain that we've been having for this past weekend. That's for sure.
You got the storm and you got ocean. You got both at the same time, and it does not get any better than this, Mike. It's the weekend opener for college football. You are tuned in to Panther football right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Again, we want to thank you so much for your love and continued support here throughout the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Yes, indeed. And it's good to see the Panthers being aggressive on the ground, which lets me know that they have confidence in the guys up front, which is always a key when you're talking football.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the teams are back onto the field, and the Panthers are ready to kick this one off, kicking from right to left. Back to receive. This one's going to be number 22, Ladarius Owens. And Owens in the field, this one at the 5-yard line, get past the 10, past the 15. He's going to be met by a plethora of Panthers at about the 17-yard line. So not a 99-yard kickoff return like last time. The Panthers put a stoppage in that on this kickoff return. And the Tigers are going to be set up shop at the 17-yard line, moving left to right. And onto the field for the Tigers is going to be number 1, Andrew Body. Body has twins receiver set up. And Owens is going to be offset to Body's left. 1st and 10 for the Tigers, moving left to right. Body takes a snap, drop back to pass. He has a man downfield, throws this one, and that one's going to be incomplete. As Body was looking for number 4, Jalen Nelson. And that pass is incomplete. It's going to bring up 2nd and 10 for the Tigers. Ball placed at their 17-yard line. Trips to the right for Body. Owens offset to his left. And Body's going to hand this one off to Owens. Owens runs to the right side. He blocks the tackle, get past the 20, and he's going to be brought down at about the 25-yard line. So it's 8-yard run for Ladarius Owens of the Tigers, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 2 for the Tigers. Tigers going on with a hurry-up offense. Twin receiver setup. Owens offset to Body's right. And Body goes with the hard count, trying to get the Panthers offside. The Panthers did not budge as Body receives the call from the sideline. This time Owens moves to Body's left. And Body takes a snap. He runs to the left, going to go with the option play. And that is not going to work. He is met by a plethora of Panthers. He's going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain for the Tigers. And that was number 2, Jesse Evans, the linebacker who was in there first for the Panthers. for that stoppage, and that's going to bring up 4th and 3. He actually lost a yard. 4th and 3 for the Tigers as the punting units are out onto the field. Number 0, Jalen Howard, back deep to receive this one for the Panthers. As the Tigers are taking their time snapping this one. And the snap is back, and this one is blocked by the Panthers! Wow! So the Panthers will set up shop at about that ball likely went out at the 16-yard line. Great stop for the Panthers. An excellent block. And we're going to see if we can get the jersey number. It looks like that was number 54, Adrian Lacey, who just blew past the line of the Tigers to block that one for the Panthers. And they will be setting up shop at the 16-yard line. Panthers moving right to the left. 2 receivers to the left for Conley. As Stewart's going to be offset to his left. And he hands this one off to Stewart up the middle. Gained 3 tough yards on the play. That's going to bring up 2nd and 7. As we got some substitution coming into the game for the Panthers. At tight end, number 85, Malachi Boyle checks in the game. As we have trips to the left for Conley. Stewart offset to his left. And this time he's going to fake the Stewart, run to the left. He has some open room, got some blockers. Past the 5. Touchdown, Panthers! It was the quarterback, number 14, Treyson Conley, for the 16-yard run for the Panthers. This time he faked the ball to Stewart, ran to his left. He had open daylight, had a couple of blockers in front of him. And he runs this one in for the Panthers to give the Panthers a 13-7 lead with the PAT to follow. And back to try this one for the Panthers, number 97, Carlos Villagomez. As the snap is down, kick is up, and it is good. So the Panthers' answer would appear to have been a blocked punt. Ball went out of bounds at the 16-yard line, so the Panthers was in what you would call excellent field position. Only took 3 plays, 2 runs by the running back, Stewart. And the quarterback, Treyson Conley, just went in for a 16-yard run for the Panthers. 14-7 our score here in favor of the Panthers with 5:17 remaining here in the first quarter.
Well, Andre, as you say, just what the doctor ordered, and the Panthers are trying to send a message, it seemed like, with major running so far in this first quarter play. It's good to see the Panthers jumping out on front like this and taking advantage of golden opportunities. And speaking of golden opportunities, we want to let you know that you can become a listening partner by simply visiting the website at obnradio.com. Click on the donation button. Become a listening partner as little as 17 cents a day. That's $5 a month, $60 a year to help get you live games like this, coaches shows. We have Coach McKinley from the Texas Southern Tigers and Coach Bubba McDowell dedicated to be on our program in each and every week right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We come on each and every day. You can check out the Mike Prince Show at the Open Mic Broadcast Network by way of YouTube, and we give you information that you could use on a daily basis to help you stay in tune with Panther Nation as well as the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And speaking about that, Andre, got an update for you. University of Arkansas Pine Bluff leading the Lane Dragons by the score of 17-7 in the first quarter of play. What are you thinking right now with the way the Panthers looking, my man?
Well, the Panthers are looking strong, Mike. They're looking very strong. As I mentioned before, only 1 pass attempt for the Panthers offense, and that was on the previous drive. They've had 2 drives so far, only 1 pass attempt, so they're trying to be physical, they're trying to be strong, and as you mentioned before, they're trying to send a message to TSU. And the run is coming from the likes of different people. We got the running back, Jaden Stewart. He's ran for quite a few times for the Panthers. Number 5, Ahmad Antoine, checked in the game a few times and has ran the ball for the Panthers. And then even the quarterback. They're getting the quarterback ready and go, and they're getting him acclimated into the offense, especially running the ball. He's only attempted one pass, and he just scored that last rushing touchdown for the Panthers.
Yes, sir. Panthers looking good so far. Let's just see if the defense can stay on track and help swing this thing even further in Panther Nation's way.
Absolutely, absolutely. They had a great stop on that last drive, so we're going to see if they're going to come out with the same momentum. As the teams are out here on the field, back to receive this kick for the Tigers, number 22, Ladarius Owens. Panthers kicking right to left. And the kick is up, and it's going to be fielded by Owens at the 4-yard line, past the 10, past the 15. He's going through the middle, and he's going to be stopped just at the 20-yard line. That was a slobber knocker, if you will. And we do have a flag on the play. Flag came from the far judge of the right side. So we're going to see what this call is. So it's going to be a holding penalty charge against the Tigers. That's going to be a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. So the spot of the foul was at the 20-yard line, so that means this one is going to be at the 10-yard line of the Tigers. So that's what they're going to set up shop at, moving left to right. And the quarterback for the Tigers, Andrew Body, trots out onto the field. This time he's going to go with an empty back setup, 3 receivers to the right and 2 to the left. Ball placed at the 10-yard line. Tigers moving left to right. We have 5:11 remaining here in the first quarter. As Body gets the ball, he's going to throw to his right side. And that is going to be for a catch, but out of bounds. And number 3, Justin Hammond on the, that's Logan Jackson. Number 3, Logan Jackson on the tackle for the Panthers, as he's going to actually lose yards on that play. It's about a 4-yard loss. So that's going to bring up 2nd and 14 for the Tigers. Ball placed at their own 6-yard line. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. As the Tigers are going with a 2-back setup, this time he hands this one off to Ladarius up the right side. And he's going to be brought down. He's going to lose another yard on the play. Great stop by the Panthers defense. As we're going to have 3rd and long for the Tigers. 3rd and what appears to be 15. Ball placed at the 5-yard line. And that was number 52, Isaiah Hurt, on the tackle for the Panthers. Trips to the left for the Tigers, 1 to the right. Owens offset to Body's left. Body drops back to pass, and this one's going to be blocked by the Tigers. Wow. And that was number 11, Kevin Victorian, the defensive lineman, on the block for the Panthers. As Body dropped back to pass, as he let that one go, and Kevin Victorian just showed off his verticals, if you will, as he just jumped up and just blocked out and just denied him. Kind of a little Matumbo action, if you will. So 4th and long for the Tigers. Back to receive the punt is going to be number 0, Jalen Howard. As this time the Tigers are able to get this punt off. And Howard's going to field this one right around midfield. And he's going to be brought down, only gained about 3 yards on that punt return. The ball is going to be placed at about the 47-yard line for the Panthers. That's what the Panthers are going to set up shop. We have 3:46 remaining here in the first quarter. 14-7 our score if you're just now tuning in favor of the Panthers. 2 receivers to the right for Conley. And Stewart's going to be offset to his left. Conley's looking over to the sideline, waiting to get the call. And he's going to hand this one off to the Stewart up to the right side. He's going to be brought down to gain about 4 yards on the play. So the Panthers are still going with the running game here so far in the first quarter. Only attempted 1 pass so far. And checking in for Stewart is going to be number 5, Ahmad Antoine at running back for the Panthers. Antoine's going to be offset to Conley's right. 2 receivers to the right for Conley. This time Conley's going to fake it off to Antoine, but this one's not going to work, and he's going to be brought down in the backfield by the Tigers. And that was number 96, Michael Evans for the Tigers. So 3rd and 14 for the Panthers. Ball placed right at midfield. Chips to the right for the Panthers, 1 receiver to the left. As Antoine is going to stay in the game, he's going to be offset to Conley's right. Conley looking over to the sideline, getting the signal. This time it's going to be a running back draw up the right. And he's still keeping his feet moving. He's still up. Runs for about a tough 8 yards for the Panthers, but it's not going to be enough for a first down. So that's going to bring up 4th and about 6 for the Panthers. It looks like the Panthers are going to try to decide they're going to go for it, and it looks like they are. So the Panthers are trying to be aggressive, sending the message so far here in the first quarter. And it looks like we have a timeout on the field. And this is going to be charged against Texas Southern. So TSU calls a timeout. Didn't like the setup they had on defense, as they probably weren't expecting the Panthers to go for it on 4th down. As this looks like it's going to be 4th and about 6 for the Panthers.
Well, Andre,
oh, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, sir. With the Panthers running that play on 3rd down, it was telling me that they were going to be going for it on 4th down anyway, especially being on that side of the ball of Texas Southern. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Panthers do with this timeout. Will they pass, or will they continue to try to run on 4th and 6?
No, it's very interesting, Mike, because yes, they are on the Tiger side of the field. Ball placed at about the 42-yard line, so they're not quite in Tiger territory, fully in Tiger, but they are on their side of the field. Ball placed at the 43-yard line of the Tigers. So the teams that come back out into the field, the Panthers are still going forward. 4th and 5. Ball placed at the 43-yard line. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left for Conley. As Antoine's going to be offset to his left. As Conley looks over to the sideline, waiting to get the call. This time Antoine switches to his right. And he's going to hand this one off to Antoine, and he's going to be met by a plethora of Tigers at the line of scrimmage. And that will be a turnover on downs. So a much-needed stop for the Tigers on that last play, as the Panthers were trying to send a message by being aggressive. They went with the run again. They didn't go for the pass again. Only 1 pass attempt for the Panthers so far here in the first quarter. They went with the run again with Ahmad Antoine up the middle. He was met at the line of scrimmage. Turnover on downs. So the Tigers are going to have this one at their 43-yard line. Twin receiver setup for a Body. And Body is going to hand this one off. And he's going to be brought down after gaining about 3 yards. Number 23, Jacory Howard on the run for the Tigers. And on the tackle for the Panthers was number 11, Kevin Victorian. 2nd and 7 for the Tigers. Ball plays at about the 45-yard line. Tigers moving left to right. We got 1:30 and counting remaining here in the first quarter. 14-7 our score in favor of the Panthers. And Biden's going to hand this one off up the middle. Again, this time he's only going to gain about 2 yards on the play. So number 23, Jacory Howard on the run for the Tigers. That's going to bring up 3rd and 5 for the Tigers. And that was defensive lineman Troy James on the tackle for the Tigers. Finally hearing his name called, a guy we mentioned in our pregame show for the Panthers. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Body. This time Body dropped back to pass. He's going to run it himself up to the left side. He has a little bit of day room. crosses the 50-yard line, and he's going to be brought down right at the first down marker, all depending on where they spot this one. That was a much-needed stop by the Panthers. He stopped him right at the first down marker. And we're trying to see where the official is going to spot this one. Oh, looks like there was a flag on the play. It's going to be a personal foul charge against the Panthers. They're going to call targeting. We weren't able to make out whom the call was against for the Panthers, but it was a targeting call nonetheless. So it's a timeout on the field. We got 21 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. 14-7 our score in favor of the Panthers.
Well, Andre, it looks like they might go to review to see if there was actually a targeting call. We were fortunate to have Ed Kelly, who is the head of officials for football for the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And if targeting is the case, then whoever it is against, they'll be out for the remaining part.
Yes. Whomever the target is against, they will be out for the remaining portion of this game. So both teams are on their respective sidelines as they're waiting to kind of fill this thing out.
Right, and so right now what's going on, they're reviewing, going through to make sure it was actually a targeting call, who the call is going to be against, then they'll make the announcements for the assessments. And go right ahead, Dre, go right ahead.
And prior to that penalty call, it was a QB run by Andrew Body up the left side. He gained appears what may have been enough for the first down, however, all depending on where the officials were going to spot the ball. But nonetheless, we're waiting to find out exactly who this call is going to be on.
Well, as we were going through the broadcast, I was listening to, there's been a lot of flags against Texas Southern, but the few that have been against Prairie, in particular this one right now, is a very critical deal, which has been an Achilles heel for the Panthers, getting a lot of personal fouls, what I would consider sometimes unnecessary fouls, and hopefully this is not the beginning of something that's continued to be a problem for the Panthers.
Well, and they've been aggressive so far here in this first quarter. One of the things that you don't want to do is shoot your own self in the foot. They've been playing pretty aggressive. They was aggressive on the last drive defensively. And they was able to force a punt actually twice so far for the Tigers, with the exception of that first drive that the Tigers had where they were able to score. So the defense been playing pretty aggressive so far. So we don't want to let penalties shoot yourself in the foot if you're the Panthers.
Another note I was taking, Andre, is this. We know the Panthers have only passed one time so far, and I'm hoping it's not because there's an undisclosed injury that Conley is dealing with right now. But the Panthers have done some very interesting play calls with all the runs that they've had so far.
Yeah, so it looks like what the Panthers are doing, they're kind of mixing things up back there at running back. You have the sophomore running back, Jaden Stewart, who typically will start the drive, gain a couple of running plays for the Panthers. And then number 5, Ahmad Antoine would check in at running back for the Panthers, still running the same zone read up the middle. And it looks like Conley is just kind of watching that defensive lineman to determine if he's going to pull it or if he's going to give it to the running back. But they're kind of sticking with that zone read running attack for the Panthers.
Yes, sir. So we looking, and it's been one of those unique Labor Day classics. Again, weather being a factor, and kind of what I'm going to touch on a little bit later on at halftime about should this game be played at NRG or should they play it at each home team's field? What do you think about that, Andre?
That is actually a very great question. We know that this game brings a lot of attraction. So, anywhere you have it, in Houston, that the fans are going to come out. The fans of Texas Southern are going to come out and support, and the fans of Prairie View are going to come out and support. Because there's so much surrounding this game, Mike, having people come out and showing up is never going to be an issue. So anywhere you have it, if you have it at the respective home team's home field, if you have it at BBVA Stadium in Houston, or if you have it at NRG Stadium, home of the Houston Texans, having people come out and show up, you're not going to have a problem with that. So anywhere you have it, it's not going to be much, it's going to be great because the fans are going to bring the excitement, and that's what this game is all about.
Absolutely. The fans are going to bring the excitement, and the teams are going to bring their bands. As you hear them getting warmed up, it's always part of the majestic feel in the air at an HBCU game or the bands. And so it's just good to have football back. And it's good to have you back on the air, my friend, as we, as I say, blow out some of the cobwebs and the dust and get things going. For those who might be wondering who Andre Davis is, he is a Prairie View A&M University graduate. He and I have had work in the past, a very exceptional young man. And let me say right now, sir, that you're doing a great job thus far. And I know the people at PV Nation and listening to Open Mic Land from coast to coast are enjoying your presentation, sir.
Well, it's great to be back, Mike. It's great to be back. It's been a long time coming. I'm excited to be here. I'm honestly excited to be back here on the Hill. I just, when I come back here, I just kind of get just a moment of nostalgia every time I come on the Hill because there's just nothing like being back home. And that's what I can honestly say. Being around here, being amongst PV Nation, being here at the 37th Annual Labor Day Classic from Prairie View A&M University, I can honestly say that I am home. So I'm excited about that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're still trying to sort things out right now of what is what.
Yeah, so they're still sorting things out. Looks like that last play took us to the end of the first quarter. So when the teams come back out to the field, we'll be starting our second quarter, and the teams will be switching sides, and the Tigers will be moving right to left. But the teams are still on their respective sidelines, kind of huddled up, and we're just waiting momentarily for the teams to come back out into the field.
Okay, while they're waiting, we want to remind you that you can become a sponsor for some of the games here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. All you have to do is reach out to me at 832-213-8824 and share the love for PV Nation and abroad with the support of the broadcast. And if you're not in position to be a sponsor, you can become a listening partner. You simply go to the website at obnradio.com, go to the donation button, and submit your donation that way, or you can do it by way of Cash App. You have to keep up with them youngsters like Andre on Cash App, and it is $OBN Radio. That is $OBN Radio. Become a listening partner today. 17 cents a day, $5 a month, $60 for the year. Some of you listening right now said, Mike, I would love to, but not even in position to do that. Whatever you're in position to do, it would be greatly appreciated and greatly needed. Why don't you become a listening partner today and visit the website, obnradio.com.
Thank you, Dr. Mike Prince. The teams are back out onto the field. Teams have switched sides. It is 4th and 1, so he did not get the first down on that last play for the Tigers. 4th and 1 for the Tigers, moving right to left. Ball placed at the 49-yard line of the Panthers. And this time, Body is going to be under center. He's been in the shotgun formation so far here in this ball game, but they're going to put him under center. As it looks like we have another timeout on the field. This time is going to be charged to Texas Southern, their second timeout so far here in today's ball game. Looks like they may have tried to go with a hard count to try to get the Panthers off sides. The Panthers did not budge. So now they're going to go back to the sidelines and kind of talk things over.
Well, Andre, while they're talking things over, I am assuming that they removed the targeting call?
Yes. It looks like they did remove it. The teams have switched sides. And as I mentioned before, Body did not get that first down on that previous play before the targeting call that was initially called on the field. So we do have 4th and 1 for the Tigers.
Watch out for the fake.
Watch out for the fake. And again, it looks like Body was lined up under the center. He's been in the shotgun formation so far here in today's ball game, which is the typical offense that you now see for today's offense. I haven't seen under the center in a long time. So this time they're going to bring the punting units out in the field for both teams. So back to receive this one, number 0, Jalen Howard. And Howard's going to field this one at about the 14-yard line. Wasn't able to make any movement. And that's where the Panthers will set up shop. So trotting out to the field for the Panthers, number 14, Treyson Conley. He has 1 rushing touchdown so far here in today's game. Only 1 pass attempt so far for the Panthers. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left for Conley. And this time they're going to start off with Ahmad Antoine at running back for this drive for the Panthers. Antoine's going to be offset to Conley's left as Conley is barking signals at the line of scrimmage. This time Antoine switches to his right. Oh, and this time he lost the ball on the snap. And we're waiting to see who recovered it. And looks like the officials are still looking, and it's going to be recovered by the Tigers. So it looks like Treyson Conley didn't even get a chance to get his hands on the snap, as it may have slipped out of the center's hands. It was a fumble nonetheless, recovered by the Tigers. Not what the doctors order if you are the Panthers. So the Tigers will have what some would call excellent field position. Is the understatement. Tigers moving right to left, and the ball is going to be placed at about the 13-yard line of the Panthers. So the Tigers are going to be knocking on the door here. Body has 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. And Owens offset to his right. He's going to hand off to Owens. Owens runs up the middle, gains about 4 yards on the play. So 2nd down and 6 coming up for the Tigers. They still have to get a first down. They're not quite at the goal line just yet. They have to get a first down. Have to get about to the 3-yard line for a first down. He's going to hand this one off to Owens again. This time he's met at the line of scrimmage. Only gains about a yard on the play. This is going to bring up 3rd down for the Tigers. All placed at the 8-yard line. Tigers moving right to left. And it's the 8-yard line of the Panthers due to that fumble by the Panthers on the previous drive. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for a body. 2 backs in the backfield to accompany him. He's going to hand this one off. This time Owens bounces to the right side, and he's going to scamper his way in for a Tiger touchdown. So the Tigers respond on that fumble recovery on the previous drive with a 7-yard touchdown run by the running back, Ladarius Owens, for the Tigers. The PA teams on the field for the extra point for the Tigers. And the ball is down, kick is up, and this one is good. So 14-14 our score, 13:58 remaining here in the second quarter. It is a tie ball game. An 8-yard touchdown run by Ladarius Owens of the Tigers. They were able to answer on a fumble by the Panthers. So not what the doctor ordered if you are the Panthers, but there's still plenty of time left here in today's ball game. And speaking of today's ball game, we want to take this opportunity to thank some of our sponsors who have helped make this game possible. We're going to start off with Teague's Barbecue. They're located at 3307 Spring Stupner Road in Spring, Texas, and they can be reached at 832-246-8552. Teague's Barbecue, and I've heard from Dr. Mike Prince that he can contest himself that that's the best barbecue in the state of Texas. So stop by Teague's Barbecue. Let them know that the Open Mic Broadcast Network has sent you. And we also want to thank A Rocket Movers and Storage. They're located at 3354 Yellowstone Boulevard here in Houston, Texas. And you can contact James Wood at 713-545-0658. Again, that's 713-545-0658. And we also want to take this time to let our listeners know that you can become a listening partner by visiting the website at obnradio.com. radio.com. As Dr. Mike Prince has said, for 17 cents a day, just 17 cents a day, your donation will help support our programming at the Upper Mike Broadcast Network. We've been serving the community through faith and athletics, and your help will help us support our student athletes throughout Waller County and beyond. You can make a donation through Cash App. That's $OBNradio.com. Again, that's $OBNradio.com. We want to thank you all so much for your love and continued support here at the Upper Mike Broadcast Network. It is the 37th annual Labor Day Classic. We're broadcasting live from Prairie A&M University, better known as The Hill. The weather has been a little muggy lately, a little raining. The raining has stopped so far. It's the Saturday Night Lights, if you will. It's college football. It's nothing like it. SWAC football, if you will. And you are listening to Panther football right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. The teams are out onto the field. And back to receive this one for the Panthers, number 0, Jalen Howard, as the Tigers will be kicking right to left. Again, 13:58 remaining here in the first quarter. Still a young second quarter, if you will. A lot of football left to be played. It is a tie ball game, 14-14. And the kick is up, and this will be fielded out of bounds, so it's going to be an automatic flag on the play. And the Panthers should field this one in excellent field position. Moving left to right. As we're waiting for the teams to come out onto the field. And due to the kick being kicked out of bounds, the ball will automatically be placed at the 35-yard line of the Panthers. Moving left to right. This time Conley is going to go with an empty backfield setup. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Conley barking at the line of scrimmage. This time Conley finally passes this one off, and that pass is incomplete. Intended for number 18, Christopher Simmons for the Panthers. That was an excellent pass breakup by the Tigers. That was number 4, A.J. Bennett. So 2nd down and 10 for the Panthers. Ball placed at their own 35-yard line. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. This time Antoine's offset to Conley's left. Now check that. That'll be Stewart, and he's going to hand this one off to Stewart up the middle. Runs to the left side, and he's going to be brought down at about the 41-yard line, so gain of about 6 yards on the play. That's going to bring up 3rd and 4 for the Panthers. Ball at the 41-yard line. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Conley. Stewart offsets to his right. This time he's going to fake it to Stewart, keeping himself, and he has daylight to the right side, past the 50, past the 45, and he's going to be brought down. He's going to run out of bounds at about the 43-yard line. That's going to be a 1st down for the Panthers. And the Panthers going to go with a hurry-up offense. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Stewart offset to his left. As Stewart looks to the sideline to get the play call. Stewart barking at the line of scrimmage. This time he hands it off to Stewart up the right. And Stewart's going to gain about 9 yards on the play. 9-yard run by Jaden Stewart. Or check that, 10 yards. They're going to give him a 1st down. So 1st down, Panthers. 10-yard run by the running back, Jaden Stewart. 1st down for the Panthers. They're going to go with a hurry-up offense. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Ball placed at the 38-yard line. And Conley's going to keep this one himself. This time he's going to have nowhere to go. He's going to lose about 1 yard, 2 yards on the play for the Panthers. As this time he decided to keep it himself. Nowhere to run. He's going to lose 2 yards. So that's going to bring up 2nd and 12 for the Panthers. Panthers still kind of going with a hurry-up offense. Kind of pushing the tempo. Moving left to right. 12-14 and counting remaining here in the second quarter. 14-14 our score. As the Panthers going to go with an empty backfield setup. 3 receivers to the left and 2 to the right for Conley. Conley back to pass, looking to the right, throws this one, and this is going to be intercepted by the Tigers. Wow. That's going to be number 1, Raheem Fuller, the safety. Intercepted this one. Number 18, Simmons, was the intended receiver for the Panthers, as we have a turnover for the Tigers. Not what the doctor ordered. If you are the Panthers, we're going to see if their defense can hold. 11:50 remaining here in the second quarter. 14-14, our score. So the Tigers are going to start this one at their own 35-yard line, moving right to left. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Body. Owens offset to his left. And this time Body fakes this one to Owens. He's looking downfield. No man. He's going to throw this one out of bounds. So great pressure by the Panthers defense as he had nobody downfield. So he just throws this one out of bounds. And that's going to bring up 2nd and 10 for the Tigers. 11:44 remaining here in the second quarter. And we're all tied up at 14. Tigers going to go with a little hurry-up offense of their own. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Body. This time, Body decides to keep it himself. He's going to run to the left side, brought down at the 43-yard line, gain of about 4 yards for Body. And on the tackle for Prairie is going to be number 9, Xavier Johnson, the linebacker. So we're going to have 3rd and 4 for the Tigers. Hurry-up offense. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Ball placed at about the 43-yard line. Tigers moving right to left. And the Tigers going to go with a hard count. Body drops back to pass. He has a man. That pass is caught. And looks like he's going to have enough for Tigers first down. And that pass was complete to number 4, A.J. Bennett for the Tigers. And the Tigers will have a first down, moving right to left. Ball placed right at midfield. 3 receivers to the right for a Body. He's going to drop back to pass. And that pass is complete. And that's going to be another first down for the Tigers. So the Tigers are moving right along here, moving right to left. Ball placed at the 39-yard line of the Panthers. This time he's going to hand this one off to Owens up the middle. He's going to be met at the line of scrimmage. He's going to gain no yards on the play. So to bring up 2nd and 10 for the Tigers. And that was number 54, Adrian Lacey, on the stop for the Panthers.
Hey, look, shield.
3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Body. And he's going to hand this one out. Oh, he's going to keep it himself. He's going to run to the left side, breaks the tackle, and the ball comes out. Ball comes out. And we're waiting to see who has it. Ball comes out. And we're still waiting. There's a big pile. We're going to wait and see who comes up with this one. And it's going to be recovered by the Panthers. So a great way to respond for Panther Nation as Body ran for about 5 yards and the ball just pops out. And we're going to have a turnover for the Panthers. 9:52 remaining here in the second quarter. We are tied at 14. Ball place is going to be at the 35-yard line of the Panthers. As Conley trots out onto the field for the Panthers. He's going to have 2 receivers to his left. And Antoine's going to be offset to his right. He's going to give it to Antoine. Antoine's going to be met at the line of scrimmage, keeps his legs moving. He's going to pick up a tough 3 yards for the Panthers. So the Panthers sticking with the run game on first down. As Antoine picks up about 3 yards. It's going to bring up 2nd and 7 for the Panthers. Ball placed at the 37-yard line. This time he gives it to Antoine. Antoine runs to the right side, breaks the tackle. He's past midfield, past the 45. He's going to be brought down at the 40-yard line. Great run by Ahmad Antoine, but we do have a flag on the play, and this one may be coming back. As we're going to wait and see what the call is. As that was about a 25-yard run by Ahmad Antoine, but this one may be coming back. So after the play, unnecessary roughness charge against the Panthers. So it's still a first down. They're not going to have the ball in Tigers territory, but it will be a first down since it was after the play. So instead of the ball being placed at the 40-yard line of the Tigers, the ball will be at the 40-yard line of the Panthers, moving left to right. 9:06 and counting remaining here in the second quarter. 3 receivers to the left and 1 to the right for Conley. Antoine's going to be offset to his left. Conley hands this one off to Antoine. He's going to cut to the right side, and he's going to gain about 4 yards on the play. Shedded one defender, made a nice cut to the right side, gained a solid 4 yards for the Panthers on that last run. That's going to bring up 2nd and 6 for the Panthers. Ball placed at the 44-yard line. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. As Conley looks over to the sideline, waiting to get the call. As Conley barks at the line of scrimmage, changing it up. This time, Antoine's going to be offset to his right. This time, Conley is going to attempt to pass, and he has Howard downfield. That pass is incomplete. The wide receiver, Jalen Howard, was the intended receiver on the play. He had him on a fade route, just kind of overshot him on that last play. That's going to bring up 3rd and 6 for the Panthers. Panthers moving left to right. Ball placed at their own 44-yard line. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for the Panthers. Antoine offset to Conley's right. And Conley drop back to pass. He's going to dump this one off to the running back. And he's going to run to the right side. Gets pushed out of bounds. He's not going to have enough for the first down. He's going to be brought down just 2 yards shy. That's going to bring up 4th and 2 for the Panthers. Last time on 4th down, the Panthers went for it, did not get it. We're going to see if they're going to go for it here on this drive. And they will not go for it. Punting units will come out onto the field. So punting this one off for the Panthers, Carlos Vigalomes. And back to receive this one, number 22, Darius Owens for the Tigers. 7:22 remaining here in our second quarter as we have a stoppage in the play. And it looks like there's going to be a timeout on the field charge against the Panthers. So 7:20 remaining here in the second quarter. 14-14 our score here in today's broadcast. The 37th annual Labor Day Classic from Prairie View A&M University, better known as The Hill.
Well, Andre, with that being going on, the Panthers and the Tigers are playing giveaway Saturday, I would say. Block punt, fumble, turn, and result for touchdowns for both teams. They're taking advantage of opportunities. And right now, this game was close like I thought it was going to be. First game of the season, a lot of jitters and anxiety going on. But right now, the Panthers got to get themselves together to regroup and not let these personal penalties throw them into a cubbyhole that they can't get out of.
Absolutely, absolutely. They have to stick to what they've been doing because the Tigers are kind of doing the same thing on their offensive side of the ball as well, Mike. Before that last drive, Andrew Body hadn't really attempted any passes similar to Treyson Conley. Before that last drive, he attempted 2 passes on that last drive, and, of course, there was a fumble that the Panthers were able to recover. But it looks like both teams are trying to be aggressive with the run game, with their respective running backs along with the quarterback, because we know Andrew Conley We know Treyson Conley can run for the Panthers, and he's been doing that so far, and so can Andrew Body. He can run for the Tigers, and they've been utilizing his feet so far here in today's ball game as well.
Yes, sir. Now, although it's not raining right now, we've had a lot of rain fall in a short period of time, and although they're playing on turf, that ball can still be damp and a little bit heavier than normal, which could be an indicator of why there's so much running going on right now.
So that could be an indicator why there's so much running going on, and it could be an indicator why there's so much fumbling going on as well. The ball is slippery. Sir. If the ball is slippery, then it's more bound to pop out more easily as opposed to a normal dry day.
Yes, sir. So we'll see what's going on here as they should be breaking out from timeout right now, ready to continue on.
Absolutely. Teams are back out onto the field as the punting units are out onto the field to kick this one off. And back to receive this one for the Tigers is going to be number 22, Ladarius Owens. Haven't quite started just yet. We just got the signal from the officials as the Panthers are ready to punt this one off. Oh, looks like we got some movement on the line of scrimmage. Looks like it may have been the Tigers that jumped first. We're going to wait and see what the call is. Looks like the Panthers went with a hard count. And looks like we're going to have offsides against the Tigers, and if that's the indicator, then it should be a first down for the Panthers. Let's see what the call is. And it is just that. It's an offside charge against the Tigers. That's a 5-yard penalty, which will make this a first down for the Panthers.
Boy, that drives a coach crazy. I can imagine Coach McKinley right now. It's not a pleased camp on that sideline, but that's the ups and downs of playing that opening game of the season.
The ups and downs, and usually you will see a hard count. If the offense would have stayed onto the field and you see a hard count, then that's usually to be expected. You typically don't see that from the punting unit, and the Panthers kind of caught them off guard on that last play, and we got first down for the Panthers moving left to right, and he's going to hand this one off to Stewart. Stewart checks back in the game, and he's going to shed a blocker. He's run to the right side, and he's going to be brought down at about the 14-yard line. A huge run by the running back, Jaden Stewart, and he's been missed for like 2 drives, but now he's back in the game. And he takes off for about a 25-yard run for the Panthers, and we have a first down for the Panthers. Moving left to right. Ball placed at the 14-yard line of the Tigers. They're going to give it to Stewart again. They're going to keep feeding him. Keeps his legs moving, run to the right side. He's going to be brought down inside the 10-yard line. They're going to mark this one at the 7-yard line of the Tigers. Panthers going with the hurry-up offense. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Conley. 2nd and 1 for the Panthers. And Conley's going to hand this off to Stewart. This time he's going to be stood up at the line of scrimmage, but he only needed 1 yard for the first down. And it looks like they're going to give it to him. So now we have first and goal for the Panthers, moving left to right. We have 6:21 remaining here in the second quarter. We're all tied at 14-14. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. This time, number 5, Ahmad Antoine checks in for Stewart. And they're going to hand off to Ahmad. He's going to run right up the middle, untouched for Panthers. Touchdown. Number 5, Ahmad Antoine on a 5-yard run for the Panthers to give them a 20-14 lead here in the second quarter with the PAT to follow. So the Panthers went with all runs on that drive, starting off with Jaden Stewart, the sophomore running back whom we've mentioned in our pregame show, that we said they're going to be relying heavily on him for their offense, and they're doing just that. And they switched him out with Ahmad Antoine, who's also been doing some of the dirty work for the Panthers on offense here in today's ball games. And he scampers in for a 5-yard run. The kick is down. It is up, and it is good. 21-14 our score. 6:03 remaining here in the second quarter in favor of the Panthers.
Well, the Panthers I'm sorry, John Gray, the Panthers adding scores. Just want to give you an update. Southern adding scores as they're all over Florida Memorial. 63-0 was our last check. And they still have yet to play in Norman, Mississippi. Stephen F. Austin and Alcorn delayed right now. And it looks like they're going to be up for a long time on the reservation trying to get some football in.
Looks like they're going to be going through what we went through back in 2016. That was a 7-hour broadcast. For those of you that are listening that remember that Labor Day Classic game back in 2016, there were some weather delays, some storm strikes, some lightning strikes, similar to what we experienced in today's ball game, and that ended up being a 7-hour broadcast. So it looks like they may be experiencing the same thing, Mike.
Yeah, I would rather them experience it than for us to experience it. Let's go ahead and keep the thunder and lightning away. I can deal with the rain, but let the thunder and lightning stay in the shadows.
Well, the Panthers were aggressive on that last drive. As you can hear, you may hear the cameo in the background. Word up, if you will.
Oh, yes, sir. We're loud and clear. But it's great sound of football, great sound of fall. You hate that this thing is been delayed and preoccupied with bad weather, but that's part of, as I say, the bumps and the bruises of dealing with outdoor events.
Well, being here at this game, I can honestly tell you that the weather delay, whatever you want to call it, did not faze Panther Nation here today. As more fans have started to pull in to Blackshear Field, I can honestly tell you that this weather did not faze them one bit. I'm looking around, I'm seeing so many happy faces, and you can tell that not only are people excited to be in the presence of PV football, they're excited to be in the presence of college football, because there's nothing like college football on a Saturday night, and that's what we got here in today's game.
Yes, sir. No doubt about it.
Yes, sir. So the teams are coming back onto the field as the Panthers are ready to kick this one off. They're going to be kicking from left to right. The running back, number 22, Ladarius Owens, is going to be back to field this one for the Tigers. As number 97, Carlos Villagomez, is ready to kick this one off. As this one is kicked off, and this one's going to be fielded by Owens at the 10-yard line. He's going to run to the right. He has some blockers past the 20, past the 30, and he's going to be brought down at about the 34-yard line. So decent run by Ladarius Owens on the return for the Tigers, as they're going to set up shop at about the 34-yard line, moving right to left. 5:56 remaining here in the second quarter. 21-14 our score in favor of the Panthers. If you're just now tuning in, as Andrew Body trots out onto the field for the Tigers, we're going to see if he can get things going for the Tigers, as he's going to have an empty backfield setup. 3 receivers to the left and 2 to the right. As Body sends a man in motion, he's going to hand this one out jet sweep to the left, if you will. And looks like he's going to be brought down after gaining about 5 yards on the play. And that was number 8 for the Tigers, Ja'Cory Benjamin. Tigers go with a hurry-up offense. Body looks left, throws left. He has a man. That pass is caught. Going to be brought down at about the 45-yard line. And that was number 0, Evan Mees, for the Tigers. That's going to be a first down for the Tigers, moving right to left. Ball placed at the 45-yard line. This time he's going to hand this one off, and he's going to be met at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. And that was number 21, Evan Mees, the ball carrier for the Tigers. But check that, Xavier Lewis for the Tigers. 2nd and 9 now for the Tigers, moving right to left. 2 receivers to the left and 1 to the right for Body. This time Body's going to hand this one off again, and he's going to go nowhere. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. And that was number 3, Ja'Cory Howard for the Tigers. And on the tackle for the Panthers, number 52, Shaheem Reese, the linebacker, as he was able to stop him at the line of scrimmage, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 9 for the Tigers, moving right to left. Ball placed at the 46-yard line. This time Body will drop back the pass, looking left, and he's going to be, it looks like he was going to be sacked, but Body was able to shed, and he's going to look to the right, throw to the right. He has a man, and that pass looks like it may have been caught. He was out of bounds. We're going to see if they're going to give it to him, and they're going to say that pass is complete. Wow. So the quarterback, Andrew Body, was scrambling around in the backfield. He would have been brought down. He was able to shed 2 or 3 defenders and roll back out to his right side to find a man downfield on the right-hand side. And they're gonna pause this one. And it's gonna be a timeout charge against the Panthers. So we're gonna have 1st down for the Tigers. And the teams come back out onto the field. Ball placed at the 35-yard line of the Panthers. Tigers moving right to left. And we have 3:51 remaining here in the second quarter. 21-14 our score in favor of the Panthers. We're going to take this time to thank some of our sponsors who made this game possible. We have the Prairie View Athletic Club serving student athletes since 1986. And for more information on how to become a member, you can dial 936-857-5817. Again, that's 936-857-5817. We want to let everybody know that that last play is going to be under review. They just made an announcement. That last catch is going to be under review. As Body had a man on the right-hand side, he threw it. They're going to see if he was able to get it. Now, this is college football. You only need 1 foot in bounds for it to be a completed catch. So they're going to review this one. And if it is a catch, the Tigers will have 1st and 10 at the Panthers' 35-yard line. And our other sponsors that we want to thank for today's game, Teague's Barbecue. And they're located at 3307 Spring Subner Road in Spring, Texas. They can be reached at 832-246-8552. Again, that's 832-246-8552. Head on down to Teague's Barbecue to get some great barbecue, and you can let them know that the Open Mic Broadcast Network sent you. We also want to thank the A-Rocket Movers and Storage. They can be located at 3354 Yellowstone Boulevard, Houston, Texas. So if you need any movers or you need any storage, if you're moving, you can contact James Woods at 713-545-0658. Again, that's 713-545-0658. A-Rocket Movers and Storage. You can also let them know that the Open Mic Broadcast Network sent you. And we want to let you know that if you want to become a listening partner at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, you can do so for just 17 cents a day. You can visit our website at obnradio.com. Again, that's obnradio.com. And your donations will help support our programming as we continue our sports broadcasting throughout the Waller County Network and Waller County and beyond. We've been serving the community through faith and athletics, and your simple donation will help us continue our broadcast coverage throughout Waller County and beyond. As the teams are slowly making their way back onto the field, and it looks like they will say it is a completed catch. So Prairie View actually challenged the call on the field. The call was originally a catch. Prairie View challenged it, and the play will stand. So Prairie View will be charged a timeout, as the Tigers will have this one at the Panthers' 35-yard line. 1st and 10, moving right to left. 3:51 remaining here in the second quarter. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Body. And Body's going to hand this one off to the running back, and he's going to be met behind the line of scrimmage. Excellent stop for the Panthers defense, as Owens is going to lose yards on that last play. So we got 2nd and 13 for the Tigers, moving right to left. Ball at the 38-yard line of the Panthers. As Body barking at the line of scrimmage. 3 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. And going to be another handoff up the middle and no gain on the play. So the Tigers went with a handoff up the middle, the exact same play in a row, met at the line of scrimmage. So 3rd and 12 for the Tigers. As Body is looking over to the sideline, waiting to get the call. He's going to have 3 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. Owen's going to be offset to his left. Ball at the 38-yard line. Body gets the snap, drop back to pass, rolls to his right, looking, and he's going to have this. He's going to just have to throw this one away as he was pressured. And we're going to try to get the number of that Panther. It looks like that was number 46, Kendon Jones Jr., the linebacker for the Panthers, was able to add some pressure on that last play and force Body to just throw this one out of bounds. And we're going to have 4th and long for the Tigers. As the punting units are going to come out onto the field. And back to field this one for the Panthers is going to be number 4, Xavier Johnson. We got 2:17 remaining here in the second quarter. As this punt is up, as Xavier's is going to wave this one off, and it's going to be fielded at the 14-yard line of the Panthers. That's where the Panthers are going to set up shop. They're going to be moving left to right here with 2:08 remaining here in the second quarter. As we're just near halftime, as we got the bands from both sides making their they've made their way down to the field, just kind of get warmed up for the halftime show. This is the 37th annual Labor Day Classic. We're broadcasting live from Prairie View A&M University. Does not get any better than this. So we got a timeout on the field. Looks like it may be an official timeout on the field. As the teams are just kind of waiting to get back onto the field. 2:08 remaining here in the second quarter.
Well, Andre, you're almost through your first half, man. How you feeling?
To be honest, I have no words, Mike. I have no words. It's been a pretty good game so far. The Panthers, like they're having the momentum right now, but, the momentum has kind of shifted so far here in today's ball game. It's been nothing short of the Labor Day Classic experience, or the Labor Day Classic atmosphere, shall I say, that we're accustomed to seeing, and we're getting that so far here in today's game. So it's been great so far, man. I can't believe that the first half is already come to an end. We got 2:08 remaining, and it's just been excellent so far.
Well, yeah. So if you do that rain delay, the way they've been running the ball, man, we'd be almost done by now.
You would think both teams are coming out doing the exact same thing. It's kind of the play calling of the Tigers was very interesting on that last drive. They didn't switch it up, even if they want to stick with the run game. They didn't do much switching up on that last drive. They literally just ran the exact same play 2 or 3 times in a row, and the Panthers defense was able to kind of meet them at the line of scrimmage, only gained about a yard here, losing 2 or 3 yards there. So if you're Panther Nation, and the Tigers are doing exactly what you want them to do.
Yes, sir. Now, one thing that's interesting about this rival game being the opening game of the season for the most part, you're still trying to fill your skill positions out and make sure the guys understand their assignments. So you're somewhat conservative, which could be an indicator of why we're seeing as many runs as we're seeing tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. The teams have come back onto the field. The Panthers will have first down, ball placed at their 14-yard line. As Conley is going to hand this one off to Stewart. Whoa, he lowers his shoulder, runs over a defender, gains a tough 8 yards on the play. Wow. Now that's what you call lowering your shoulders. Not 8-yard run by the running back, Jaden Stewart. They're going to go with the hurry-up offense. They're going to give it to him again. He's been a workhorse for the Panthers so far here in today's game. He's going to run up the middle, and he's going to have enough for the Panthers' first down. The ball placed at the at their 24-yard line. Panthers moving left to right. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left for Conley. Stewart's going to be offset to his left. This time Conley is going to drop back the pass. Looking left, throws up. He has a man downfield. That pass is incomplete, but there is a flag on the play, and it will be pass interference charge against the Tigers. As Conley, yes, sir.
I said that could be the break that the Panthers would need him before the half. They only have 1 timeout left, so they're trying to get that ball downfield as quick as possible.
Absolutely. He had the wide receiver, Jalen Howard, downfield, and it appears that the defender, he didn't have his head turned around. When you're a defender, if you don't get your head turned around, that can be very, very risky. In this particular case, pass interference charge against the Tigers, and we have 1st and 10 for the Panthers.
Yeah, it's only a 15-yard penalty, not like in the professionals where it's a spot foul.
Exactly. But if you're the Panthers, 15 is better than no yards at all. So we have 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Panthers moving left to right. So after that 15-yard penalty charge against the Tigers, the ball is officially going to be spotted at the 39-yard line of the Panthers, moving left to right. 3 receivers to the left and 1 to the right for Conley. Stewart's going to be offset to his right. 1:15 and counting remaining here in the first quarter. He's going to hand this one off to Stewart, and Stewart has some lane to the left side, and he's going to run out of bounds. Wow, and he's going to be hit late out of bounds. As Panther Nation is looking for another personal foul call. We don't see any yellow laundry. As Stewart ran for about 12 yards, he was hit out of bounds, late out of bounds, if you will. And you can hear the boos from Panther Nation as they wanted that personal foul call as he was hit well out of bounds, but they're not going to give it to him. And as we say, you have to keep on playing. Nonetheless, that was a 12-yard gain by the running back, Jaden Stewart. And that's going to be 1st down and 10 for the Panthers. Right at midfield, they're going to spot this one at the 48-yard line of the Tigers. As Stewart went out of bounds, that was able to stop the clock with 1:09 remaining here in the second quarter. And this time he's going to hand it to Stewart again. This time Stewart runs to the right side. He's going to spin off one defender. Keeps his legs moving. He's going to be brought down at about the 39-yard line of the Tigers. A 9-yard gain by the running back, Jaden Stewart, as he's been the workhorse for the Panthers so far here in the first half. 2nd and 1 for the Panthers. As number 5, Ahmad Antoine, going to check in for Stewart. And Conley's going to drop back the pass. This time he's going to take it himself, run to the left side. He has nothing but daylight. And he's going to get past the 35, past the 30. Actually, he's going to ride the bounce just at the 30-yard line. It's going to be enough for a Panthers 1st down. So Conley attempted to pass on that play. Didn't see a man downfield, so he just touched this one himself to gain about 11 yards for the Panthers. And they're going to have 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line of the Tigers, moving left to right. He was able to go out of bounds, so he was able to stop the clock with 27 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Ball placed right at the 30-yard line. 2 receivers to the left and 2 to the right. Antoine offset to Conley's right. He's going to hand it to Antoine. They're going to go with a running play here with 20 seconds remaining. As Antoine was able to get about 6 yards on the play, and the Panthers going to have to burn a timeout. That should be their 3rd and final timeout here in the first half. Yes, their 3rd and final timeout here in the first half with 17 seconds remaining. And when the teams come back out onto the field, it's going to be 2nd and 4. The ball is going to be placed at the 24-yard line of the Tigers.
Well, Andre, you got to be wise on this. You got to think they're going to throw the ball, at least give themselves a chance for a last-second field goal.
Yes, sir. And you have you can hear some of the Panther Nation kind of chirping at that last play. Even though Ahmad was able to gain some positive yards, he was able to gain 6 yards on that last run. A lot of Panther Nation was kind of concerned that they went with the pass play on that. They went with the run play on that last play.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of heavy running on both sides, and I guess it's just a bit of being conservative, man. They are being a bit conservative. We're going to wait till we get the halftime stats to make it official, but
it would not surprise me if the Panthers have already had over 100 yards rushing so far in this ball game collectively as a team. As the teams are back out onto the field, and this time Conley will attempt to pass. He's going to look to his right, and he's just going to throw this one out of bounds. As number 18, Christopher Simmons, was the intended receiver on the play for the Panthers, as he was tightly covered, and Conley, the smart thing, just throw this one away, and we're going to have 3rd and 4 for the Panthers. Ball is going to be placed at the 24-yard line. We got 12 seconds remaining on the game clock. As Conley is just taking his time, you got to hurry up now. You got 4 seconds before you have to get this one off. And he's going to get this one off just in time. He's going to look to his left, throw left, and that pass is going to be broken up by the Tigers. As Conley waited right until the last minute, he may have to tell Coach that he's going to have to start getting the plays much quicker, as he barely was able to get this one off. Didn't really give time for that play to really develop, as he was kind of rushing. That's going to bring up 4th and 4, as the field goal unit will be back out to attempt what looks like it's going to be about a
41-yarder.
About a 41-yarder. Yes, sir. As the kick is up, and it is good. So the Panthers are able to extend their lead here with 2 seconds remaining in the second quarter. 24-14 our score in favor of the Panthers.
Well, that was some good ball control by the Panthers with the aid of the pass interference. Took advantage of the opportunity, and the good thing about it, they'll get the ball to start this second half off because they won the coin toss and deferred to the second half. So seems like things are swinging in Panthers' momentum.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Barring that there's no mistakes here for this next kickoff. There's 2 seconds remaining on the game clock. And barring that there's no mistakes, the Panthers will go into halftime with momentum on their side. And as you mentioned, Mike, they will get the ball to start off the second half.
Yes, sir. Panther Nation ought to be a bit pleased now with the chirpiness before this last play.
Oh, I don't know if you can hear it, but the Panther Nation are ecstatic right now. You can feel the Labor Day Classic atmosphere here in the air as we're coming at you from Prairie A&M University, better known as The Hill. The rain has stopped, Mike, so there's no excuses there, and it's just a beautiful Saturday night college football.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the teams that come out to the field to kick this one off. Ladarius Owens for the Tigers are back to field this one. As this kick is off, they're going to do a swivel kick to keep it away from Owens. This kick is going to go out of bounds. Remember, the game clock does not start until it's fielded. As we got a little chirping down low.
Yeah, that was a bad mistake. Yeah, that was a bad play right there. Just kick it right at one of the big guys. They're trained to fall on it.
Yes,
and be done.
And be done with it. Yes, yes. They tried to go with a squib kick. The kick went out of bounds, and then you got some chirping from both players on the left side of the field, which is typical for a game like this. For those out there listening for the first time, this is a Labor Day Classic game, the annual Labor Day Classic, but this is also a rivalry game between the Panthers and the Tigers. And we all know when it comes to rivalry games, things can get kind of testy. But if you're Panther Nation, you're up by 10, you want to be smart, and you don't want to have any unnecessary penalties if you're the Panthers.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
a game like this, you're full of emotions.
Full of emotions. So there was a personal foul charge against both teams, so that penalty will offset. And the Tigers will have this one with 2 seconds remaining. So as opposed to going to halftime after the kickoff return, ball goes out of bounds, and the Panthers will be able to attempt one last play with 2 seconds remaining. And Body drops back to pass. He's looking left. scrambling in the backfield. He's not going to have anybody. Excellent coverage downfield by the Panthers. So Byers going to have no choice but to throw this one out of bounds. And with that, our first half has come to an end here at the 37th Annual Labor Day Classic from Prairie A&M University. Panthers on top of this one by the score of 24-14.
Very good first half for the Panthers. Very good first half for the Panthers. Good first half for you, Mr. Davis, as you got through it, got through the storm, and got through some turnovers, and sitting right now with a 24-14 lead for the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Mike. I heard them say Mike check. They're coming through loud and clear. So, look, as they get ready for halftime, we want to let you guys know that this broadcast is being presented to you because of people in the community and throughout Panther Nation and believing and supporting Panther athletics. And those people are A Rocket Movers located in Houston, Texas. Thanks to Mr. James Wood. Also to Teague's Barbecue from PV's own Matthew Teagues, former Dallas Cowboy, PV graduate of 1980. The Panther backers supporting Panther sports since 1995. Temple of Refuge Ministries supporting Panthers athletics in the community of Prairie View, Texas and beyond. And the Prairie View Athletic Club serving student athletes since 1986. Really, really thank you guys for doing your part to help this thing going on. For those who are listening right now, you say, well, I have a business. I'd like to be a part of that team too. Get in contact with me, Dr. Mike Prince, at 832-213-8824. We have a package to fit your need, your budget, and your reach. And for those who might not have a business but just want to be a part of the team, a part of the Prairie View Open Mic family, go to the website, obnradio.com, become a listening partner by clicking on the donation button. We simply ask if you can, those who can, join us at 17 cents a day, $5 a month, $60 for the year to become a listening partner. If you don't have that, whatever you have that will be donated toward the cause will be greatly appreciated and greatly needed. Visit their website today at obnradio.com. Panthers taking care of business as the bands are getting ready. We're going to pause the band out just for a moment right now as we're getting ready for stats and everything for this second half of play or the first half recap. But meanwhile, we want to give you some of the latest scores that are going on throughout the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Currently, Grambling having a rough time right now against Arkansas State. The last score we had was 59-3 in favor of Arkansas State. Alcorn and Stephen F. Austin have yet to get on the way. Last we checked, there was a delay there in Lorman, Mississippi on the reservation. Southern Jaguars all over Florida Memorial. Last we checked was 86-0 in the fourth quarter. Coach Dooley coming out, making a statement, coming out with a vengeance, letting everyone know in SWAC Nation that the Jags are ready to roll. Thursday night action saw Alabama A&M falling to University of Alabama Birmingham by the score of 56-3. You had FAMU falling short to UNC, University of North Carolina, by the score of 56-24. Our score at halftime right now has the Prairie View A&M University Panthers leading the Texas Southern Tigers by the score of 28-14 at the end of the first half of play. We still have SWAC football on the plate for you. Tomorrow, Sunday, September the 4th, will feature the FAMU Rattlers hosting the Jackson State Tigers. This is a greatly anticipated game. The Tigers and the Rattlers played to a 7-6 showdown last season. Jackson State coming out on top, which was enough for them to win the East, which was enough for them to lead and go over to the SWAC championship game to beat the Panthers to advance to the Celebration Bowl, where they fell short to South Carolina State. So Jackson State, heavily favored to some to take care of the Rattlers. Rattlers coming in with some problems. The JSU coming in with some problems with the floods and everything that are going on in the state of Mississippi, in the capital of Jackson, Mississippi. So it's going to be some, as they say, some side distractions, but when it comes time for kickoff, they're going to be ready to take care of business and get those games on the road. Speaking of getting games on the road, hopefully you're enjoying tonight's presentation of Prairie View and Texas Southern here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. You can join me each and every day with the Mike Prince Show here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network, or you can join by way of our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and that is OPENMIC Broadcast Network. Subscribe to their YouTube channel today. Click the bell notification, and that way you will get any and everything that we present right here from the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We've got a lot more things in store for you. We keep up not only with football, men and women's basketball, but volleyball, softball, soccer, baseball, cross country, indoor, outdoor track, tennis, golf, bowling, you name it, we cover it, not only for Prairie View, but for the Southwestern Athletic Conference, right here on the Mike Prince Show at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. For those of you who are listening and may have tuned in late, you will get an opportunity to listen to the 1876 after party 15 minutes at the end of tonight's game. At the end of every game, you can listen to the 1876 after party post-game show right here on Spreaker.com. All you have to do is go to the website, obnradio.com, click on the Mike Prince Show, and it'll be live and living color. We usually go anywhere between 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. All depends what's going on. But we'll recap what the Panthers did and get ready for their next opponent. And on Sundays, you will hear exclusively from Coach Clarence McKinney of the Texas Southern Tigers and Coach Bubba McDowell of the Prairie View A&M University Panthers right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network each and every Sunday. They'll recap, of course, tonight's game, and they'll recap the games of their opponents of each and every week right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Those are the things that we're doing. Those are the things that we're dedicated to ensure unique quality programming for your listening pleasure. So don't forget, if you know someone who's involved or want to be involved with Prairie View Athletics, tell them that the Open Mic Broadcast Network is the place to be. We don't do a whole bunch of fluff. We don't get all beside ourselves. We just talk with reason, talk with logic about the ins and the outs of athletics as we see it, as it unfolds. There are a lot of things going on that are great within the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Of course, people are catching wind of the HBCU buzz and the HBCU Go deal that was signed earlier in the spring between the Southwestern Athletic Conference and HBCU Go, which is a company owned now by Byron Allen. Byron Allen has done a phenomenal job in reaching out and pouring out the HBCU brand. So now SWAC football can be heard from coast to coast, Los Angeles to New York, in 12 major TV markets. As a matter of fact, I was very well pleased today to find out on the local CW channel in the Houston area, there was HBCU programming for 3 to 4 hours and just featuring HBCU sports. Went down every SWAC school, every coach, the schedule. There'll be games being broadcast on the HBCU Go platform. They're also going to be bringing basketball for men and women and all the other Olympic sports, baseball, softball, track and field, the whole gamut. So it's a great time to be connected to the HBCU family. So whatever's going on, you want to get caught up, check us out at the Mike Prince Show and the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Panthers on top by the score of 24-14 here at halftime, as the Panthers are making their way to try to get their 8th consecutive Labor Day Classic. And man, oh man, what a way for Bubba McDowell to get off the ground and running toward what could be another Western Division title for the Southwestern Athletic Conference. The Panthers are defending Western Division champions, and a lot of people have overlooked them, for whatever reason. Yes, Coach Eric Dooley does relocate, goes to Baton Rouge, back to where he was created and developed, if you would, under his mentor, and his name escapes me right now, but it's going to be okay. But Dooley doing an outstanding job. Last we checked, 86-0 over Florida Memorial. It's going to be very interesting. Big shoes to fill for Coach Bubba McDowell. But the way things are looking right now, despite some little iffy personal penalties and not holding on to the ball as much, but the Panthers looking pretty good thus far. So this is only the beginning. One half of football, another second half of football on the way, with the voice of Andre Davis, the voice of the Panthers through the open mic, doing a great job on everything. And that's what it's all about, giving back, supporting, and uplifting, especially if you say you love your school. Prairie View has been very, very good to me. And if you guys are old enough, that's old Garrett Morrison saying what he said about baseball. But it's truly exciting to be able to bring you these games, and hopefully you guys are enjoying these games, listening to the game, sharing the love that'll be the game. And if you happen to miss the game, you can always catch the rebroadcast through the Open Mic Broadcast Network YouTube channel. So be sure that you subscribe, and you can catch up with all these games and much, much more. Now, as we may mention, we had rain delay tonight. We've had rain delay in the past. The inaugural opening of the stadium at Prairie View, a 7-hour rain delay broadcast. It rained so hard one year at BBVA, or what was the old BBVA, it's PNC now, but it rained so hard that it flooded out the walkway and the runway of that stadium. A lot of people have been wondering, should it be or could it be time to reconsider going back to NRG? Talked with Andre earlier about this. It's a place where people that represent Prairie View and Texas Southern would gather and meet. And when you have an event such as tonight, when all the rain is coming down, it really wouldn't have an effect on the game itself, because now you'll be able to have the covering of the dome and get the game in, more people come, and even more electricity in the air. I like it to a degree, only if some conditions were to change. I love my school, Prairie View. Love it, and I'm pretty sure those to this broadcast love Prairie View as well. I find it offensive when I go to watch a Prairie View Texas Southern game that there is another football team other than the Texans' name in the end zone. I do not like that. I do not like that. Give us the respect that is due to every other, whether it's Power 5, Group 5, and whatever other programs. Let us have our time and our moment in the sun. So I like the fact of the home and homes. It's unique. People say you can get more money. Now, another plus about having it at NRG, you'd have a guaranteed check from both sides plus whatever your ticket sales are. There are some pros and cons to all of it, but we'll probably use that on the weekly show of the Mike Prince, or the daily show of the Mike Prince, show. Let you guys weigh in on that. You can follow me on Twitter at the Mike Prince Show. That is the Mike Prince Show at Twitter. And we'd love to discuss and share with you things going on throughout the Southwestern Athletic Conference, things that are going on throughout HBCU athletics. Andre, how you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling good, Mike. I'm feeling good. We're at the halftime mark here in today's action. Looks like we got about 5:20 remaining on the game clock. The sounds that you hear is the sounds of the beautiful marching storm.
Yes, sir. They sounded real good. Have you ever been able to get any stats in your grasp just yet?
We don't have any stats in hand just yet, Mike. We're still waiting to get those. We just sent a message to our crew member. So we're waiting to get the actual stats. I can actually tell you, just from what I noticed, in that first half, like we mentioned before, both teams were aggressive offensively with the run game. That being Prairie and Texas Southern. Prairie came out with a rushing attack by way of Jaden Stewart, Ahmad Antoine, and then even Treyson Conley ran the ball a few times himself in that first half and has a rushing touchdown of his own. Same thing with the Tigers. Tigers did the exact same thing. Andrew Body has been running the ball for the Tigers. Ladarius Owens has been doing the exact same thing as well. Not that many pass attempts from both teams. Without having official stats in our hand, that is one thing that we can point out that we noticed in that first half.
Okay, with all that being said, what are your personal assessments of both teams' play to this point?
My assessment is that both teams are sticking to their game plan. We've had some penalties from both squads, some fumbles. There was a block punt as well, some holding penalties, pass interference penalties. So both teams have been having penalties in that first half, Mike. But one of the things I've noticed, both teams are just sticking to their game plan, regardless of the score. Because even when the Tigers were down a touchdown, and now they're down by a touchdown and a field goal, it seems that they were still kind of sticking to their game plan. One would argue that that they may should try to change some things up, but both teams are just kind of sticking to what they know. Both teams are just running the ball. They're being aggressive offensively, and it may just come down to that, Mike. The key thing is gonna be the Tigers are gonna try to switch things up. If you're Prairie, you want to try to continue what you're doing, but at the same time, you don't want to be predictable. I'm a stickler for doing what has got you here so far, but at the same time, you don't want to become predictable. And as for the Tigers, it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to continue what they did in the first half, they got them 2 touchdowns, or if they're going to try to mix some things up here in the second half.
Well, the one thing about the Tigers, they got the touchdowns rather quick, and it looked like it's like one of those uh-oh moments, but it seemed like the Panthers got themselves together to kind of create some turnovers and stiffen the neck a little bit to keep the Tigers from advancing.
Right, they didn't get flustered. The Panthers did not get flustered. Even with that 99-yard kickoff return that kind of opened this 37th annual Labor Day Classic up, even though it didn't necessarily count, it did get them on the opposite side of the field of the Panthers, and they were able to score on that same opening drive. The Panthers were not flustered. Again, they just came out, did exactly what they did, and that's what has led them to have a 24-14 lead here in this ball game. And one thing I also want to point out, we talked about this guy at quarterback for the Tigers, and Andrew Body. Be on the lookout for him in the second half to kind of really try to take things over for the Tigers. We saw a little glimpse of him in that first half just in terms of what he can do. Again, he's only attempted without having official stats in our hand for those that are listening, he's only attempted about 2 or 3 passes so far in this ball game. Everything else has been done with his feet. But just in terms of the way that he's been moving in the pocket, kind of scrambling around, kind of keeping the drive alive for an extra 2 or 3 or 4 seconds, there's no doubt as to why there was so much talk about this young man coming in today's ball game. So be on the lookout for Andrew Body for the Tigers to try to make some noise for his team for this second half.
No doubt about it. He's a strong young man, too, because he shook off a defender that he thought was going to be a sack.
Yes, sir.
Able to buy some time and make a big completion. So, Andrew Body is the engine that makes the Tigers go. And let's just hope that engine can stay stalled for another half of football, and they can get on down the road and let them run wild with and whoever else they come up against.
Absolutely, and if you're a Panther defense, you can't get relaxed. That's going to be the key thing in this second half because the Tigers are going to come out aggressive. What the Panthers are going to need to do is capitalize on this opening drive. We mentioned before the halftime, the Panthers won the coin toss at the beginning of the game, but they deferred to the second half. They're leading by 10 points right now. They're going to get the ball back in the start of the second half. We got about 33 seconds on the game clock. Martin Storm still out there on the field, kind of just wrapping things up, giving Panther Nation what they came here for. We don't want to get it twisted. Panther Nation came here to enjoy a great football game between the Panthers and the Tigers, but Panther Nation also came here to watch the award-winning Marching Storm Band of Prairie A&M University. So it is safe to say from the sounds of it that they're getting their money's worth here in today's ball game.
Absolutely. With time running down, I want to let you know that this is just the beginning of a beautiful run this fall here at the Upper Mike Broadcast Network. The Panthers will be on the road in Abilene, Texas to take on the Abilene Christian Wildcats. It is scheduled for a 7 p.m. kickoff time next week, and guess who will be there? Open Mic Broadcast Network, led, of course, by Andre Davis, doing a great job thus far tonight, sir. We're greatly appreciative of you coming back home to get in front of the mic.
Coming back home, Mike. Coming back home. There's nothing like it. I feel great. I'm excited to be here, to be amongst Panther Nation. And it's just an overall element in the atmosphere just kind of gets you excited for games like this. As we mentioned before, this is the 37th annual Labor Day Classic game. You can tell just between the excitement between both teams and both fans, just how exciting a game like this is. And I'm just happy to be back in the element of TV Nation. I'm happy to be back in the element of OBN Radio, providing the service for you guys. And again, I'm just excited to be here, man. So and before we get things started for the second half, I want to say thank you to you, Dr. Mike Prince, for providing this platform for me and others to be able to serve our student athletes, because that's what this is about. Because without them, there would be no us for this broadcast. So we're here to serve them, all the hard work that they put on in the off season and the hot summers of Texas. I'm sure you, as a former player, know about that. The hot summers of Texas, the 2 days, all the practice, all the hard work, just to come out here and showcase in front of hundreds and hundreds of fans, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yes, sir. We're happy to have you a part. Thank you for that, but it is a labor of love. We have a simple motto, and I've told you guys this 100+ times. Love what you do, simplify what you do, and master what you do. It'll never seem like you're working a day in your life. And we ought to be ready to get this second half on the way, huh, Andre?
Yes. So we're getting just about ready. The band is through playing. The game clock has wind down. We have 15 minutes now on the game clock. Teams haven't quite come back onto the field just yet. They're on the sidelines. They haven't come into field play just yet. But when teams do come back onto the field, the Panthers will be receiving this ball as they deferred the coin toss to the second half. As you can hear the ocean sounds, or the sounds of ocean. I'm not sure if I got that right. Forgive me, but you can hear them. Ocean of soul. There you go.
Look, we don't really care if we get that one right. As long as you get the Marching Storm right, it's gonna be all right.
We're not gonna forget the Marching Storm. You can't forget that.
That's right. Yeah. No, I was just saying we call them the Lake of Soul. It doesn't matter.
The Lake of Soul, the Pond of Soul. Yeah, it's a body of water. I know that much.
The puddle of soul. How about that?
The puddle. Well, in comparison to the sounds of the Marching Sound, you can tell the Marching Storm. You can tell there's a difference. And before we kind of get things going, I want to kind of paint a picture, if I will, for you, Mike. When the Marching Storm came out onto the field, you can hear the rumbling from PV Nation, kind of making a storm sound, if you will, just to kind of paint that element of it being a storm, given the fact that their name is the Marching Storm.
Yes,
I thought that was very, very, very creative. And I've been to several PV games. We broadcasted several PV games, and that's my first time witnessing PV Nation actually making the sounds of storm with their feet. And when you got hundreds and hundreds of fans making that song, it actually sounds like a rumbling sound, if you will.
Yes, sir. Thunder clouds rolling in the air.
Thunder clouds, yes.
And the storm coming on in to take over. Great atmosphere, sir. Man. And you got to love it from beginning to end. We're getting ready for our second half of football coverage here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Prairie and Texas Southern with the 37th annual Classic. Andre Davis giving us the play, and we'll turn it right back over to him right now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mike Prince, and thank you again for that lovely halftime show that you was able to provide. We weren't able to get any halftime stats for this game, but as we mentioned before, both teams have been aggressive offensively with the run game. That is the Tigers and the Panthers. So we're going to see if the Panthers are going to continue to do that here in the second half. As back to receive the kick for the Panthers is going to be the wide receiver number 0, Jalen Howard. As this kick is off, and Howard's going to field this one at the 5-yard line, get past the 10, past the 15. He runs to the right side, and he's going to be met by the Tigers at about the 21-yard line. So about a 16-yard run for the wide receiver, Jalen Howard. And Treyson Conley and company will set up shop at the 21-yard line, moving right to left. Conley's going to have 3 receivers to the right and 1 to his left. And Stewart's going to be offset to his right. And he's going to hand this one off to Stewart. Stewart up the middle. And he's going to keep his legs moving before he's finally brought down after gaining a tough 4 yards for the Panthers. 4-yard run by the running back, Jaden Stewart. He's going to bring up 2nd and 6 for the Panthers. Panthers going with the hurry-up offense. 3 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. As this time, Stewart's going to be lined up to Conley's left. Conley's barking at the line of scrimmage. And Conley takes the snap. He's going to hand this off to Stewart yet again. This time he's going to gain about 2 yards, kind of met the line of scrimmage, kind of fought for the extra yardage, if you will. And it's going to bring up 3rd and 3 for the Tigers. Now checking in for the Panthers is going to be the other running back that was doing some of the dirty work for the Panthers in the first half, number 5, Ahmad Antoine. Antoine is going to be lined up. He's going to be offset to Conley's left. And he's going to hand this off to Antoine. He's going to be stood up at the line of scrimmage by a plethora of Tigers, not really going to gain any yards on the play. And that's going to bring up 4th and 3 for the Panthers. The punting unit is coming onto the field as the Panthers continue with their rushing attack in this opening drive of the second half. Was able to get a first down on the play, but nothing else going. Well, check that. They weren't able to get a first down at all on that drive. As the Tigers were able to force a 3 and out. And we have 4th and 3 coming up for the Panthers. And back to receive for the Tigers, Isaiah Hamilton. This punt is up, and Hamilton's going to wave this one off. Takes a slight Prairie View bounce. Not really much doing there on the punt, and this one is going to be fielded at the 39-yard line. Oh, check that, 40-yard line of the Tigers. And that's where the Tigers will set up shop, moving left to right. Andrew Body trotting out to the field for the Tigers. As Owen's going to be offset to his right. Body has 3 receivers to the left and 1 to his right. And Body's going to hand this one off to Owens on the left side. He's going to bounce further to the left side. He's going to shed a couple of defenders. And he's going to be brought down after gaining about a couple of yards on the play. And he was brought down by number 33, Tyreek Moore for the Panthers. So they're going to respot this one. He only gained about a yard on that last play. That's going to bring up 2nd and 9 for the Tigers. Tigers go with a hurry-up offense. This time, Body's going to look right, go right. He has a man, but that pass is incomplete. In and out of his hands. That was number 4, A.J. Bennett, on the intended receiver for the Tigers. As Body threw a bullet pass to Bennett. And that one bounced right off his chest, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 9 for the Tigers. Three receivers to the right, 1 to the left for Body. Ball placed at the 39-yard line of the Tigers. Owen's going to be offset to Body's right. As Body is going to take this one, drop back to pass, looking, has a man downfield. That pass is incomplete. As the intended receiver for that one is going to be number 8, Corey Benjamin. And it's going to bring up a 4th down for the Tigers. So a 3 and out for the Panthers, exactly what the doctor ordered if you are Panther Nation. 4th and 9 coming up for the Tigers. We have 12:16 remaining here in our opening 3rd quarter. 24-14 our score in favor of the Tigers. As this is going to be fielded at the 20-yard line for the Panthers. He's going to get past the 25, brought down at the 26-yard line. And we're waiting to get the jersey number. That's going to be number 4, Xavier Johnson, on the punt return for the Panthers. As the Panthers are going to set up shop at their own 29-yard line, moving right to left. As we have a slight stoppage here in the play. As there was a penalty charge against the Tigers. Wasn't able to quite make out exactly what the penalty is. But the officials haven't moved the original spottage of the ball just yet. Ball still placed at the 29-yard line of the Panthers. Not quite sure, but nonetheless, Kings are back out onto the field. We got 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Trips to the left for Conley. Stewart's going to be offset to his left. He's going to hand this one to Stewart up the middle. Gain about a yard on the play. Panthers still going with the rushing attack here in the 3rd quarter. No pass attempt just yet for Conley here in the 2nd half. We got 11:28 remaining here in the 3rd quarter and rolling. Panthers moving with the hurry-up offense. Trips to the left for Conley. Stewart offset to his left. Going to hand this to Stewart up again. This time he's going to run to the right side. Not really able to get much. He's going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage again. So that's going to bring up 3rd and about 9 for the Panthers. The Panthers are still running with the hurry-up offense. And we're going to see if the Panthers are going to attempt a pass here on 3rd and 9. As Conley has 3 receivers to his left and 1 to the right. This time Conley will attempt to pass. Looking. He has nobody. This time he's going to run up the middle, and he's past the 50. He has nothing but daylight. Past the 40. Past the 40. He's still going past the 10. 5. Touchdown, Panthers. Wow. A 55-yard scamper by the quarterback, Treyson Conley, as he dropped back the pass. And it looks like he may have had the idea of running it all along, because he only took him 2 seconds as he took off running, and there was nothing but daylight in front of him. 55-yard run by the quarterback, Treyson Conley, his 2nd rushing touchdown here in today's ball game, as he extends Panthers' lead by the score of 30-14 with the PAT to follow. Just what the doctor ordered if you're Panther Nation. As number 97 for the Panthers, Carlos Villagomez, back to try this one. The kick is down, up, and it is good. And check that. That was actually a 70-yard touchdown run by Treyson Conley. 31-14 now our score in favor of the Panthers. 10:31 remaining here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, the Panthers getting a little degree of separation right now with that 70-yard touchdown run by Treyson Conley. So the Panthers leading. I got a little head scratcher for you right now, Andre, with a score update. University of Arkansas Pines Bluff hosting the Lane Dragons, and right now it is 48-42 in favor of the Golden Lions. So they got a little battle going on right now, just like we got a little battle right now of pride between the Panthers and the Tigers. I want to thank you guys for joining in with us. I want to acknowledge the Prairie Athletic Club for being a proud sponsor of tonight's broadcast. You can become a member of Prairie Athletic Club, I should say, by dialing 936-857-5817. Serving student athletes since 1986, providing all kind of behind-the-scenes aids for these student athletes for all 18 sports, not just football, men, women's basketball, but in all the 18 sports. Also want to acknowledge the Panther backers and Dino Robinson and his crew doing a fantastic job supporting student athletes at Prairie View since 1995. They have an annual golf tournament the first weekend of May each year. Exciting, fun, fundraising, and just a great time to get out there and show your love for Panther Nation.
Well, thank you for that, Dr. Mike Prince. And as you mentioned before, just the battle between these two teams, kind of sticking with their game plans. And I want to point out on that last touchdown run by Treyson Conley, it was 3rd and 9, and one can argue that they showed pass as a decoy because Conley dropped back to pass only 2 seconds. He saw a lane and he just took off, and there was nothing but green daylight. As all the receivers were pretty much downfield, it looks as if the Tigers were kind of in the man-to-man defense. So all the DBs were downfield, the receivers were downfield, and Treyson Conley had nothing but green daylight in front of him.
That was the old 3-card Monty move. Sit everybody on a fly, create a part, and watch him run.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I know that play very familiar because I do that play on Madden all the time.
Oh, all the time. And that's why you struggle, son. You can't run that all the time. You can't run that all the time. You got to know when to pull. You got to know when to pull that one off, my man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, the teams are back onto the field. Panthers are ready to kick this one off. And back to receive this one for the Tigers is going to be Owens. Owens going to field this one at the 5-yard line, pass to 10, pass to 20. Past the 25, he's going to break 2 or 3 tackles, still on his feet past the 30. He's going to be brought down at the 34-yard line. That's where the Tigers are going to set up shop. Check that. That was actually number 21, Xavier Lewis for the Tigers. As the Tigers are going to set up shop at their own 33-yard line, moving left to right. 10-19 remaining here in the third quarter. The Panthers on top of this one, 31-14. As Body has 3 receivers to his left and 1 to the right. And Body's going to look right, throw right quickly. That pass is tipped, and it's caught, intercepted by the Panthers. Yes, sir. As Body looked to his right and threw quickly, that pass was tipped, and it was intercepted by the Panthers. And we're going to wait to get the number, and that was number 28, Travis Pearson II, on the interception for the Panthers. So the Panthers will have nothing short of excellent field position, moving right to left. Ball's now going to be placed at the 36-yard line of the Tigers. 1st and 10 for the Panthers, moving right to left. Conley has 2 receivers to his right and 1 to his left. Stewart's going to be offset to his left. And he's going to hand this off to Stewart. Stewart's going to be met at the line of scrimmage. He's going to finally be brought down, only gaining about a yard on the play. Panthers still going with the rushing attack here in the third quarter. 1 yard run back Jaden Stewart on that last play. That's going to bring up 2nd and 9 for the Panthers. Ball now placed right at the 35-yard line of the Tigers. Panthers moving right to left. Now they're going to go with an empty backfield. Conley has 3 receivers to his right and 2 to his left. Conley's going to show pass, but then he's going to run up the middle, a quarterback draw, if you will. He's going to gain 3 yards on the play. So the Panthers try to do exactly what they did on the previous drive that awarded Conley a 70-yard touchdown run. Panthers went with an empty backfield setup, had 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Conley showed pass and immediately took off for a quarterback draw, only gained about 4 yards on the play. And it looks like we have an injury timeout on the field. There's an injured Panther on the field. Can't quite make out the jersey number just yet. We hope the young man is okay. The injury timeout nonetheless. 9:29 remaining here in the third quarter. Panthers on top of this one by the score of 31-14 if you're just now tuning in. And we're going to use this opportunity to thank some of our sponsors for making this game possible. And we're going to start off with Teague's Barbecue, located at 3307 Spring Stubner Road in Spring, Texas. They can be reached at 832-246-8552. And it looks like the injured quarterback was in fact, the injured player was in fact the quarterback, Treyson Conley. He was able to get up on his own. He appears to be limping. It may cause some concern if you're Panther Nation. And so it looks like he's going to walk off on the sideline with some help. And we're going to wait and see. Teams haven't come out on the field just yet, but we're going to wait and see who the Panthers are going to bring in at quarterback to lead Treyson Conley. Conley has been doing quite a bit of work here on offense for the Panthers so far here in today's ball game, specifically with his feet, if you will. Again, he's only attempted, we don't have official stats just yet, but from our viewing, he's only attempted about 3 passes so far here in today's ball game. Most of the action has been done on the run, specifically between him, the running back Jaden Stewart, and the other running back Ahmad Antoine for the Panthers. So Conley has had his work cut out for him so far. He just had a 70-yard touchdown run on the previous drive, and he just ran up the middle on that last play for about 4 yards. Couldn't quite see how he got injured, but he was walking with a limp a little bit. And without speculation, we don't know if he'll be able to return for this ball game. He is on the sideline sitting down with his helmet off. And we're going to see what they're going to be bringing in at quarterback.
Everything is okay for the young man.
Yes, sir. So it looks like at quarterback they're going to be bringing in the freshman C.J. Dumas for the Panthers. As the play will resume, we have 35 for the Panthers. As Dumas is going to fake this one, and he's going to run it himself. Past the 20, past the 10, past the 5, and he's going to be brought down right at the goal line, and they're going to give it a touchdown, Panthers. And that's how you come in and make a name for yourself. And I'm sorry, check that. I'm so sorry. That was actually number 16, Chris Herring, the redshirt sophomore for the Panthers. Comes in on that play and gets a touchdown for the Panthers.
Well, I was just going to say Dumas was pushing both the quarterbacks. Bubba McDowell was extremely excited. He said, Mike, this kid is ready right now, and I hope I don't have to use him this year because he's just that good. And now you see that you got your second quarterback able to do what the first quarterback is doing. And if the third quarterback is just as good as the first and second, I'm liking the future of Panthers football.
Well, the future of Panther football, especially at the quarterback position, is looking mighty bright, Mike. And to your point, C.J. Dumas is actually coming from a championship caliber play himself. He actually just won a state championship his senior year in high school. He's from Katy, Texas, and they actually won the state championship this past football season.
Yes, sir.
Peyto High School.
Yes, sir. Texas. Yes, sir. Just some young guys from up north way in Texas, somewhere up the north area.
Well, it's in Katy, Texas. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I'm talking about beating you some guys from Dallas, your home area.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have to.
It's okay.
Nonetheless, we always say may the best man win, regardless of what area Texas you come from. And it looks like C.J. Dumas and company were the best men that won.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we just received word that we aren't going to get any stats until the end of the ball game. For those out there listening that may have been anticipating some stats so far here in today's game, we did receive word that we won't get any stats until the end of the ball game.
That's the way it goes sometimes.
That is the way it goes. That is the way it goes. As the teams have come back onto the field, it was a 25-yard touchdown run by the quarterback, Chris Herring, who came in to relieve Treyson Conley, who was injured on the previous play, and he comes in on one play and makes a name for himself already. So we got 9:20 remaining here in the third quarter. Panthers on top of this one, 31-14, with the PAT to follow. Looks like we still got a bit of a stoppage in the play. Not quite sure what's happening, as it looks like Prairie is running towards their sideline.
Maybe they're trying to add those points and make it 37 to 14.
Right, yes, because it should be. Yes, because it should be 37 to 14. It should be 37 to 14. They have not changed the scoreboard just yet.
Unless it's under review. Is it under review?
So that's what it was. It was under review. Forgive me. So it was under review, and it looks like the play is going to be overturned. So instead of a touchdown, we're going to have a first and goal at the 1-yard line. So the offense is back out into the field. Harrington's going to hand this one off to Stewart up the middle, and without a doubt, he will get in for a Prairie View touchdown. So we will not have to review that one, as we're going to have a touchdown, Panthers.
Well, that'll always work. So, well, he didn't get the touchdown, but he set it up for the touchdown.
He set it up for the touchdown. There was an excellent run by him on the previous play. He got down right at the goal line. I thought he was stopped just right at the goal line, but they originally awarded a touchdown on the field. They was able to review it and overturn the call, and it was a 1-yard touchdown run by the running back, Jaden Stewart. His second touchdown in today's ball game. 37-14 our score with the PA to follow. And it looks like we got some movement on the front line. Got a flag on the play. And it's going to be a false start against the Panthers. So it's going to back them up about 5 yards. So instead of the ball being at the 3, the ball at the 2, the ball is now at the 7. Should still be a cheap shot for the Panthers, for the PAT. As the snap is down, kick is up, and it is good. So a 1-yard touchdown run by the running back, Jaden Stewart, due to a setup of the incoming quarterback, number 16, Chris Herring. Panthers now go up 37-14. 9:08 remaining here in the third quarter. So an interesting turn of events here at the 37th Annual Labor Day Classic. Panthers have come out here in the second half to kind of put the foot on the gas, doing exactly what PV Nation is hoping that they would do, having led up so far. Still plenty of football left, and the Panthers are going to have to keep at it if they want to get their first win here in the 37th Annual Labor Day Classic.
Well, what's happening right now, Andre, is going to actually force the hand and possibly play calling for the Tigers as they fall behind 38-14 right now. And when the Panthers get the ball, they'll keep running, but not as fast with that hurry-up offense so they can get out of here with the least amount of injuries and the victory.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The clock is definitely on Prairie View side, if you will. Now, if you're Tigers, it's going to be really interesting, as you say, to see how their play call is going to be on this next drive. And based on what their play calling is, will determine how they're feeling on that side of the ball.
Yes,
again,
sir.
Yes, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? If you're the Panthers, you don't want to get complacent with your defensive coverage. Don't get into the zones and give them time to read and pick. Apply pressure, mix up the looks, and keep this thing grinding so you can confuse them as much as possible to create possibly some more turnovers.
Absolutely. They've been doing the exact same thing they've been doing that in the first half, Mike. And Tigers are essentially kind of doing the same thing. The Tigers are kind of doing the zone read, similar to what the Panthers do on offense. So we're going to see how the Panthers are going to do their play calling here in this next drive. As the teams are coming onto the field, the Panthers are going to be kicking this one off. They're going to be kicking from right to left. And back to receive this one for the Panthers is going to be number 22, Ladarius Owens, as he's going to be joined by number 21, Xavier Lewis. As this kick is off, and this one's going to be fielded by Lewis at the goal line. He's going to get past the 5, past the 10. He's going to run right up the middle, past the 20. He's going to be brought down right at the 25-yard line. So the Tigers will set up shop at the 25-yard line, moving left to right, as the quarterback, Andrew Body, trots out onto the field for the Tigers. The Tigers going to see if they're going to get things going here, as they find themselves down several touchdowns here in the third quarter. 9:01 remaining. Ball placed at the 25-yard line. Body has 3 receivers to his left and 1 to the right. Owens offset to his right. He's going to hand this one off to Owens to the left side. Owens going to cut up the middle, finds a little lane. Going to be brought down after gaining about 9 yards on the play. Ball placed now at the 34-yard line. 9-yard gain by Ladarius Owens. 2nd and 1 for the Tigers. Tigers going with the hurry-up offense. He's going to hand to Owens again up the middle. This time only gained about 2 yards, but he will have enough for a Tigers first down. So the Tigers are still going with the running attack here in the third quarter as the clock continues to run. 8:25 remaining. 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Ball placed at the 37-yard line. Tigers moving left to right. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. As this time Body is going to keep it. He's going to pitch it to Owens to the right side. Owen get past the 40, and he's going to be brought down at the 45-yard line. So the Tigers went with an option to the right as Body pitched it to Owens at the last minute. Owens able to pick up some solid yards for the Tigers. It's going to be 2nd and 2 for the Tigers. Tigers still going with the hurry-up offense. Body has 3 receivers to the left. He's going to hand this off to Owens. Owens hesitates, finds a lane up the middle. He's going to be brought down. Gains positive yards for the Tigers. That's going to be another Tigers first down. The Tigers are still going with the running attack. They mixed some things up a little bit, but they're still going with the running attack here on this drive. They're going to have first down and 10 as they're starting to creep their way in the Panthers' territory. Ball now placed at the 48-yard line of the Panthers. Tigers moving left to right. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Body takes the snap. He hands this one off to Owens. Owens going to shed a defender, but he's going to be brought down in the backfield by the Panthers.
Keep on running. Keep right on running.
Yes, sir. And on the tackle for Prairie View, that was number 52, Shaheed Reese. It's going to bring up about 2nd and 17, 2nd and 18 for the Tigers. 3 receivers to the right and 1 to the left. As Body looks over to the sideline to get the call. And he's going to take the snap. He's going to hand this one off. He's going to run to the right side. No gain. He actually loses a yard on the play. And that was number 23, Jeffrey Howard for the Tigers. And number 52, Jaheed Reese on the tackle for the Panthers. It's going to bring up 3rd and long for the Tigers. Ball placed now at their 43-yard line. They have to get to the 38-yard line of the Panthers for a first down. So we have 5:53 remaining and counting, if you will, on the game clock. 37-14 our score in favor of the Panthers. As Body is going to attempt to pass, and this pass is going to be caught by the Tigers. He's going to go out of bounds. He won't have nearly enough for a first down. And that pass was complete to number 4, A.J. Bennett. And that's going to bring up 4th and about 5 for the Tigers. That was an 11-yard reception for Bennett, as the Tigers will stay, the offense will stay out on the field.
Yeah, you have to figure.
Yes, sir.
You have to figure this is 4-down territory right about now.
Definitely 4-down territory for the Tigers. As Barty has 3 receivers to his left, 1 to the right, looks to the sideline to get the call. And he's going to take the snap, drop back to pass, and he's going to be brought down by the Panthers. It's going to be a sack on the play, as we can't quite make out the jersey number. It appears that Kamon Samuel and company are part of that sack for the Panthers, and it's going to be a turnover on downs. Great stop by the Panthers defense, just what the doctor's order, turnover on downs, as the Panthers will have this one at their 44-yard line. Moving right to left. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. As it appears that Herring will stay in the game for this next drive, and he's going to take this one to the right side, and he's going to be brought down in the backfield. So it looks like Chris Herring was attempting to pass on that last play, couldn't find anybody. He took off to the right side, nowhere to go, and he was brought down in the backfield by a plethora of Tigers. He saw nothing but white jerseys in his line of vision. 4:29 and counting on the game clock. It's going to bring us second and about 16 for the Panthers. And Herring's going to hand this one off to Stewart up the middle. As Stewart was able to gain most of those yards back. Gain of about 5 yards on the play. So we should have 3rd and 11 for the Panthers. And check that. That was actually Christian Mosley for the Panthers. So we finally seeing the veteran running back for the Panthers, Christian Mosley, getting some action at the running back position. It's been all Jaden Stewart and Ahmad Antoine so far in today's ball game. 3rd and 11 for the Panthers. Empty backfield setup for Herring. And he's going to take the pass, and this one is intercepted by the Tigers, and that's going to be a pick 6. Wow. Definitely not what the doctor ordered. That was number 1, Raheem Fuller, for the Tigers on that pick 6. So 37-20 our score with the PA to follow. We got 3:35 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. The Panthers was in an empty setup. It was 3rd down and 11, so obvious passing situation, although the Panthers have found themselves in 3rd and long, and they still have attempted to run. So it's interesting that the Panthers decided to throw on that last play, as the receiver was running a hitch route, and it appears that Herring may have just released it just a little bit too late, as he was able to jump that one for a pick 6.
Well, I'll give my commentary after the PHG.
So the PA2 team is back onto the field as they're kind of huddled up right now. Oh, actually, the offense have come back onto the field, so it looks like the Tigers will go for it. Yes, sir, well, they will go for it.
You would think with the lead that you have as late as you're on the 3rd quarter, I know it's 3rd and 11, why not just keep the clock running and run the ball?
Yes, sir, and it looks like Barty attempted to pass. That pass is incomplete, intended for number 4, A.J. Bennett. So the 2-point conversion is no good. So 37-20 will remain our score with 3:35 here in the 3rd quarter.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm going to question that one. I'm not a nitpicker, but, you know, you just want to play the odds in your favor, right?
You want to play
at home. Mm-hmm. You're at home. You got a comfortable lead. Your defense is playing well. Okay. The run game has been working, and even though it's an obvious pass situation, like I said, run the ball, run the clock, and milk the clock as much as possible.
Milk the clock as much as possible. If you're the Panthers, one thing you don't want to do is get cocky here in this ball game. It was 3rd and 11, which one would consider a passing situation. However, you run the ball like you've been doing this entire game. If you don't get the first down, it's fourth down. Punt the ball, pin them deep back in their own territory, and live to see another day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, but instead, they attempted to pass. Not only was it a pick, it was a pick six. They didn't get the 2-point conversion. So they're still down 17 points here in the third quarter. 3:35 remaining. As teams will come back onto the field, the Tigers are ready to kick this one off. And back to receive this one is going to be Xavier, and he's going to field this one at the 15-yard line. But he's going to trip and fall down, that turf monster, if you will. And that was actually number 0, Jalen Howard, on the kickoff return for the Panthers. As he fielded that one at the 15-yard line, got to about the 19-yard line, but slips and falls. The previous weather that we had today definitely plays a factor here in today's ball game. Even though the rain has stopped, it is safe to say that field is probably still wet, and you can tell by that last run as he just kind of slips and falls at the 19-yard line of the Panthers. So that's what they're going to set up. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, we just hope that people are enjoying today's broadcast. Send you some text to let us know if you guys are listening and where you're listening from. 832-213-8824. We'll give you a little shout-out. Andre Davis leading the way for the call on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Be sure to join us for the 1876 post-game show. 15 minutes at conclusion. Doesn't look like we might have any staff at that time, but we want to give a brief recap. Live to see another day. Get ready for our interviews with Coach McKinney and Coach Bubba McDowell for Sunday night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As the Panthers called a timeout before coming back onto the field. We got 3:30 remaining here in the third quarter. 37-20 our score in favor of the Panthers. As the teams are starting to come back onto the field, the Panthers will set up shop at their own 19-yard line, moving right to left. As Heron will stay out there at quarterback for the Panthers, he's going to hand this one off to Stewart up the middle. Stewart's going to gain about a yard on the play. Not much doing there. Panthers going back to the rushing attack that got them here thus far. So 2nd and 8 coming up for the Panthers, moving right to left. 3:09 remaining and counting. As the Panthers is kind of taking their time, kind of milking the clock. Everyone's looking towards the sideline to get the call. As we have 12 seconds on the clock, but the Panthers have to get the snap off. And they're going to get the snap off. Another handoff up the middle. Another 2-yard gain by Stewart. And that's going to bring up 3rd and about 6 for the Panthers. Clock still moving. The Panthers just taking their time, milking the clock. No sense in rushing, as we just previously mentioned. As the Panthers are up by 17 here in the third quarter. As Heron's going to have 3 receivers to his right. And Stewart's going to be offset to his right. Another handoff to Stewart, this time to the left side. He's going to be stood up at the line of scrimmage for a gain of no yards on the play. So it's going to bring up 4th down for the Panthers. Clock still continues to move as the punting unit comes out onto the field. So 3 runs in a row for the Panthers. Only gain of about a total of 4 yards. As we're going to have 4th and 7. And back to receive this one for the Tigers is going to be number 8, Ja'Cory Benjamin. As this punt is up, going to take a slight Panther bounce. Going to go out of bounds. And we're going to wait to see where they're going to spot this one at. Looks like they're going to be spotting this one at the 46-yard line of the Tigers. So not a whole lot doing there on that last punt. As the Tigers will set up shop with excellent field position, they find themselves down by 17. 109 remaining here in the third quarter. Tigers going to be moving left to right. Body trots out onto the field. He's going to have 3 receivers to his left and 1 to the right. A new running back for the Tigers, and that's going to be number 5, Kevin Harris. As Body hands this one off. Oh, no, he fakes it, keeps it himself. Has several Panthers defense fooled, including myself on that last play, as he keeps it himself, and he's going to pick up 2 yards for the Tigers. Tigers go with the hurry-up offense, 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Body. Harris offset to Body's right, as the Tigers go with a hard count to get the Panthers offside. Looks like they did just that. We have a flag on the play. And this is going to be offside charge against the Panthers. And that was the big guy, number 92, Isaiah Hunt for the Panthers. Kind of got a little jumpy on that last play. That's going to push the Tigers up an extra 5 yards. So now they're starting to creep their way into Panther territory. Ball now placed at the 47-yard line of the Panthers. Tigers moving left to right. 2nd down and 3. And Body's going to hand this one off to Harris. Harris runs to the left side. He's going to cut up the middle. 6-yard gain. That's going to be enough for a Tigers first down. Kevin Harris, the ball carrier for the Tigers. The Tigers are going to go with a hurry-up offense. They're going to hand this off again to Harris, but this time he's going to be met at the line of scrimmage by the Panthers. And on the tackle for Prairie View is number 47. Let's check that. Number 46, Kendon Jones Jr. And it looks like there was a penalty called against the Panthers. Wasn't quite sure what the penalty is, but the Tigers were able to move up 5 yards. May have been offside charge against the Panthers. And we have 1st and 5 for the Tigers, moving left to right. Ball placed at the 39-yard line. As Body's going to attempt the pass, this pass is incomplete. So the intended receiver, number 8, Derek Morton for the Tigers. And that's going to take us to the end of our third quarter here in today's ball game. 37-20, our score in favor of the Panthers.
Well, as we get ready for this fourth quarter action, we want to let you know that this is just the beginning of fun action here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network for Panthers football. Next week, the Panthers will be in Abilene Christian taking on the Wildcats of Abilene. That game is scheduled for a 7 p.m. kickoff. You can join us here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Tell someone about what's going on. They can join us by dialing 857-777-0000 to listen to the live play-by-play coverage by Mr. Andre Davis. And the old man will try to kick around and hang around with him as long as he can. But you catch the Panthers right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. I want to thank our sponsors for tonight. A-Rocket Barbecue. Listen to me. A-Rocket Movers and Storage on St. T's Barbecue, Panther Backers, Panther Athletic Club, Temple of Refuge Ministries, our listening partners and supporters from throughout the nation, and thanking each and every one of you. We have people call in or text in Prairie View that are listening. Thank you for joining in. People from up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area joining in on tonight. Thank you guys so much for your support. I believe I even got a few people down in Mississippi, down in Itta Bena, Texas, Itta Bena, Mississippi, and Greenwood, Mississippi, by way of our affiliate, G-Line, Greenwood Live, or Greenwood Live Line, with my good buddy, Lee Hall, MW. Behave yourself, brother. Behave yourself. Panthers enjoying a lead as they flip the sides to start the fourth quarter. Andre, they got to hold on. I don't want to see nothing strange happen with a 37-20 lead in the fourth quarter.
We don't want to see anything strange happen. Panther Nation, of course, don't want to see anything strange happen. They find themselves up 17 points here at the start of the fourth quarter. You want to continue to do what you've been doing this entire time, but at the same time, you don't want to play to lose. You have to find a sweet area if you're the Panthers to continue doing what you're doing this entire time, not get too fancy, but at the same time, you also don't want to play to lose as well. It looks like Chris Herring is going to pretty much stick it out for the Panthers to finish this game off as he trots back onto the field. So we're going to see if the Panthers are going to continue to do exactly what they've been doing that's got them a 37-20 lead so far here in this ball game.
Yes, sir, and I think that's a wise thing to do. Get Conley out. You do have a comfortable lead, but you can best believe if this league shrinks, Conley's going to put that helmet back on and be out there on the field for the Panthers.
Yes, sir, and check that. My apologies. The Tigers are actually on offense as teams have switched sides, so Tigers are now moving right to left, and it will be 2nd and 4 for the Tigers. Ball is going to be placed at the 36-yard line of the Panthers. As the Tigers going to go with an empty backfield setup, 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Body's going to do a quarterback draw up the middle. He's looking for a lane. He's going to get past the 30, and he's finally going to be brought down right at the 29-yard line. We're going to see if where they're going to officially mark this one, but nonetheless, it will be a Tigers first down. Andrew Body just went with the quarterback keeper on that last play, as they're going to officially mark this one at the 27-yard line of the Panthers. Tigers moving right to the left. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left for Body. And they're going to go with the play action fake. Body's going to attempt to pass. That pass is broken up. We can't quite make out the jersey number just yet. The intended receiver for the Tigers was number 8, Derek Morton. That's going to bring up 2nd and 10 for the Tigers. Ball at the 27-yard line. 3 receivers to the right and 1 to the left. 14:26 remaining here in the fourth quarter. And Body's going to hand this one off to Owens up the middle. He's only going to gain about a yard on the play. That's going to bring up 3rd and 9 for the Tigers. A huge third down for both teams here in the fourth quarter. Tigers going to go with the hurry-up offense as time is not on their side. 3 receivers to the right and 1 to the left. Ball at the 24-yard line of the Panthers. And Body's going to hand this one off to Owens. Owens going to shed a few defenders. And he's going to be brought down right around the 20-yard line. Will not have enough for the first down. And this, of course, will be 4th down territory for the Tigers as the offense. Well, it appears that the offense was going to stay out onto the field, but it looks like the field goal unit will come out onto the field to attempt the field goal here for the Tigers. So it looks like this is going to be about a 39-yard field goal attempt for the Tigers. And number 59, Richard Garcia III, is back to attempt this one for the Tigers. And we're going to have a timeout on the field. And timeout's going to be charged against Texas Southern. So 4th and 5 when the teams return, as the Tigers are going to attempt a 39-yard field goal to make this score 23-37 with 13:08 remaining here in the fourth quarter.
Well, if you're the Panthers, you'll settle for 3, but you don't want this 3 to be made even. So hopefully everything will work out in favor for the Panthers. Hope you guys are enjoying today's coverage of Panther football here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, serving the community through faith and athletics since 2002. We love what we do, and that's why we're doing it. Thanks to good folks like Andre Davis coming out, sharing his skills and his enthusiasm for tonight's broadcast. a lot of people come together to bring this thing together. We call off our sponsors, we call off our listening partners, and call off fans across the nation and the state. Thank you guys so much for all that you're doing to help the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As a team, were able to come back onto the field. They were able to attempt that field goal, that 39-yard field goal. The kick was up, and it is good. So now our score is officially 37-23 in favor of the Panthers after that last field goal attempt by the Tigers, with 13:02 remaining here in the fourth quarter. I was about to say third quarter.
No, you don't want to do that, brother. You don't want to
go
do
backwards.
that. No, don't go backwards. Keep going forward. And
yes,
it feels, you can almost feel, Andre, that momentum trying to shift in favor of Texas Southern right now.
Well, if you're the Panthers, yes, sir.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
Well, yes. To your point, Mike, you can feel that the momentum is slightly starting to shift. However, if you're the Panthers, even if you're bending, you don't want to break. You got 13:02. You got 13:02 remaining here in the fourth quarter. You're going to get the ball. Continue doing what you've been doing this entire ball game. The run attack has essentially worked. You have 2 or 3 running backs that you can switch out to in the likes of Jaden Stewart, Ahmad Antoine, and we saw Christian Mosley, not on the last drive, but the drive before that, finally get some action here in today's ball game. So you got 3 different running backs that you can kind of switch out to. Continue the rushing attack. Continue to milk the clock as much as possible. Don't do anything fancy here in the fourth quarter.
But you know, we've been noticing all night, not a lot of passing, at least not a lot of vertical passing, but haven't seen a lot of swing passes to your backs to get them guys in some possible one-on-one situations so you can create more space. Very interesting. Be interested to hear what both coaches have to say after this one here.
What the Tigers attempted that once in the first half. They attempted that one time, and to your point, we haven't really seen a whole lot of swing passes happen on both sides here in today's ball game. And one thing that we can point out, with both teams, with the passing attempts that they have attempted, and this is both teams that I'm speaking about, the passing has not been very successful for either squad. Anytime Prairie View attempts a pass, it either gets broken up or an interception, as we've seen previously here in today's game, and even similar for the Tigers. Anytime they attempt a pass, it either gets broken up or it's unsuccessful. So the passing attempt has not worked out well for both squads here in today's ball game, and it's a wonder why both teams have just been sticking with the rushing attack here in today's game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One thing about it, even with the late start, this game has been moving pretty fast.
Yes, but when you're running the ball, that clock is moving.
Yes, sir.
When you're running the ball, that clock continues to move. As the teams that come back onto the field, Tigers are ready to kick this one off. And back to receive this one is going to be number 0, Jalen Stewart for the Panthers, and number 4, Xavier Johnson. As this kick is off, and it's going to be fielded at the 5-yard line. You get past the 10, past the 20. It's going to run up the middle, past the 25. He's going to be brought down right at the 26-yard line. And check that. That was actually number 25, Gerald Smith, on the kick return for the Panthers. As the Panthers will set up shop at their 25-yard line, moving left to right. As Heron has 3 receivers to his left and 1 to the right. Stewart's going to be offset to his right. He's going to hand this one off up the middle. He's going to gain about 3 yards on the play. And we have a substitution for the Panthers. The other running back, Ahmad Antoine, is going to check into the game for Stewart. 2nd down and 6 for the Panthers. Ball plays at their own 29-yard line. As Heron looks to the sideline to get the signal. Panthers just taking their time on offense, just kind of milking the clock. There's 12:20 and counting remaining on the game clock. Second down, 6 yards to go for the Panthers. 3 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. And he's going to hand this one off to Antoine. This time he's going to run to the right side. He's going to get past the 30, and he's going to be brought down right at the 32-yard line. So third and about 3 to go for the Panthers. As the Panthers is just kind of taking their time on offense. Aaron looks to the sideline, waits to get the call. Barks at the line of scrimmage. He has 2 receivers to his left and 1 to the right. Antoine's going to be offset to his right. Another handoff to Antoine, this time straight up the gut. And he's going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. So it's a great stop if you're Tiger Nation. And in on that stop, number 2, Dontario Anderson for the Tigers. That's going to bring up 4th and 3 for the Panthers. So the punting units are out onto the field. The Panthers going to be punting this one left to right. 10:50 remaining here in the fourth quarter. As this punt is up, nearly blocked, just barely gets this one off. As this one's going to be waved off, it takes a great Panther bounce. And this one's going to be fielded at the 14-yard line of the Tigers. We do have a flag on the play. As that flag was thrown right when the punt was off. As the officials are kind of huddled up, just waiting to see exactly what the penalty is going to be. That was a 58-yard punt by the Panthers, a great punt. And based on the penalty call, we're going to see if this one holds. As we're still waiting, officials are still huddled up, waiting to see exactly what the penalty call is going to be. And officials are talking to the Tiger sideline. So it looks like the penalty is going to be charged against the Panthers. And looks like there may have been a chop blocking call charged against the Panthers. We can't quite make out the official's crowd, his mic, so we're not sure exactly what it is. So before the kick, there's going to be a personal foul charge against the Panthers, blocking below the waist. So it looks like the Panthers are gonna have to repunt this one, as that penalty is gonna back them up, and they're gonna be on their own 17-yard line. So a personal foul charge against the Panthers, a block below the waist before the punt was off, and they're gonna re-kick this one. Now instead of kicking from their 25-yard line, they're gonna be kicking from their they're going to be punting from their 17-yard line.
This could be dangerous.
Yes, sir. As this punt is up, and this time it will be fielded by the Tigers. And he's going to run to the right side, past the 30, and he's going to be brought down at the 35-yard line. So solid field position to start for the Tigers. Instead of starting inside their own 10-yard line, they're going to be starting at their 35-yard line. So a costly penalty against the Panthers, and the Tigers are going to set up shop at their own 35-yard line, moving right to left.
That was a 21-yard swing, Andre, on that penalty call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So body comes out onto the field for the Tigers. 3 receivers to his right and 1 to his left. Owen's going to be offset to his left. He's going to hand this one off to Owens. They're going to stick with the run game here on first down. Owens going to run to the right side. He's going to be brought down, only gaining about 2 yards on the play. So the Panthers defense was able to snip that one out fairly quickly. A 2-yard run by Ladarius Owens of the Tigers. Second down and 8 for the Tigers. And number 9, Keyshawn Johnson checks in the game for the Tigers. As we have a slight stoppage in the play, it's going to be a timeout called on the field, timeout charge against the Panthers. 9:55 remaining here in the fourth quarter. 37-23 our score in favor of the Panthers. So costly penalty, as Mike alluded to, will have the Tigers at their 36-yard line moving right to the left. As they're trying to close in on this gap, we got 9:55 remaining here in the fourth quarter. And when teams come back out onto the field, it's going to be 2nd and 8 for the Tigers. We want to take this opportunity to thank all of our listeners for today's broadcast. And we want to mention, if you want to become a listening partner, you can do so by visiting our website at obnradio.com. Your simple donations will help support our programming here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network as we're serving the community through faith and athletics. And your donation will help us with our radio broadcast coverage as we continue to cover our student athletes throughout Waller County and beyond. As teams will come back out into the field, 2nd down and 8 for the Tigers, moving right to left. Ball placed at the 36-yard line. As Byers is going to attempt to pass. This time he will do a swing pass to his left, and that pass is complete. Not really much doing on that play, as he's going to lose 2 yards on the play. And that's going to be number 11, Louis Shanzani. Oh, excuse me, check that. That was number 11, Elijah Muhammad, for the reception for the Tigers. So there's that swing pass that Mike previously mentioned here in today's broadcast that we haven't seen so far in today's ball game, but nothing doing for the Tigers on that last play, as we now have 3rd and 9 for the Tigers. Ball placed at their 35-yard line. This time Bobby will attempt to pass. He's going to roll to his right. Nobody downfield. He's going to take this one himself. He's going to run out of bounds, and he's going to run out of real estate as he goes out of bounds, only gaining 1 yard on the play. So he was rushed on that last play. They attempted to pass, couldn't find anybody downfield. Excellent pressure by the Panther defense as he ran out of bounds, only gaining 1 yard on the play, and that's going to bring up 4th and 9 for the Panthers. Excuse me, check that, for the Tigers. Forgive me. As the punting unit will come out onto the field for the Tigers. As this punt is up, and it's going to be fielded by number 4, Xavier Johnson. And Johnson's going to get past the 30, and he's going to be brought down at the 35-yard line. So the Panthers will set up shop at their 35-yard line, moving left to right. 8:34 remaining here in the fourth quarter.
Andre, you need to have that clock running, man, even at timeouts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you definitely do.
Yeah, I mean, I want you to, go tell them to keep the clock running, man. Tell them to keep it running.
If I can get down there in time, I can't move as fast as I normally could. If I can get down there in time, I'll try to do so. As Panthers come out on, yes, sir. And the Panthers are going to go with a run here on 1st down. They're going to hand this one off to the running back, Jaden Stewart. Gain of about a solid 4 yards on the play.
Well, that's what you want. You want 4 yards or more. Go back and huddle up. No hurry. Let's milk this clock.
Yes, sir. Let's milk this clock. Continue doing what you've been doing. And we're going to have some substitution for the Panthers. Can't quite make out his jersey number, relieving the other running back, Jaden Stewart, for the Panthers. 2nd down for the Panthers. Ball placed at their 38-yard line. He's going to hand this one off up the middle, gain of about 2 yards on the play. And that's going to be number 29, Bernard Goodwater. Another running back for the Panthers. Getting some action here in today's ball game.
Hadn't heard that name in a long time. He's a transfer out of Kansas.
Yes, sir.
Every time he touched the ball, he'd do a magical play and then ended up on the injured reserve list. So it's good to hear his name called out tonight.
Yes, sir. So there's several running backs that the Panthers have to choose from. You got the likes of Jaden Stewart, who's been doing most of the work here in today's ball game. And then you also got Ahmad Antoine. We finally heard Christian Mosley, who's actually the veteran running back for the Panthers. Finally heard his name being called. That was back in the third quarter. And now we got the other running back, Bernard Goodwater, finally get some action for the Panthers offense, as there was a timeout on the field. When the teams come back, we will have 3rd down and 4 for the Panthers. Ball at their 41-yard line.
Hey, we want you guys to hang tight with us because we're going to have the 1876 after party post-game show on the Mike Prince Show at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We'll recap what we heard on tonight. Got some final scores for you. Southern ends up beating Florida Memorial by the score of 86-0. Grambling State 56, Arkansas State 3. University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff able to hold off Lane by the score of 48-42. Panthers trying to finish their job here tonight. You think they got another touchdown in, Andre?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They really do. They got 7:35 remaining on the game clock. They say this 3rd down and 4 when they come back onto the field. They've steadily been doing what they've been doing this entire time. You know, we wanted them to kind of milk the clock. Clock is still on their side, and they're doing just that, Mike.
Well, I milk the clock, but I feel better with another touchdown.
Oh, I feel excellent with another touchdown. I will feel excellent with another touchdown, with them being able to also take some time off the clock.
I don't want another touchdown with maybe a minute left.
Yes, if they're able to shave about 5 or 6 minutes, even 4 minutes off the game clock and score another touchdown, it is pretty safe to say that they may have this one in the bag.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got to be cautious. They got to be cautious, my man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So teams come back out into the field. 3rd and 4 for the Panthers. And this time Heron's going to keep it himself. He's going to run to the right. He's going to make 2 defenders miss. And he's going to have enough for a Panthers first down as he was brought down right at midfield. Yes, sir.
That's what you want to see, my man. That's what you want to see.
Oh, and check that. That was actually the freshman quarterback, C.J. Dumas, who checked in the game for the Panthers for that 7-yard run on that last play to give the Panthers a first down. So the freshman C.J. Dumas at quarterback getting some action here in this 4th quarter with 7 minutes remaining.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Yes, sir. Ball placed at midfield. Ahmad Antoine in the backfield for the Panthers. As Dumas going to hand this one off to Antoine. Antoine's going to run to his left. He's going to shed a few defenders. Get past the 40. He's going to be brought down right at the 35-yard line of the Tigers. Another first down for the Panthers. Panthers moving left to right. Great run by Ahmad Antoine for the Panthers. As we will have 1st and 10. Panthers moving left to right. 3 receivers to the right and 1 to the left for the freshman quarterback, C.J. Dumas. As that clock continues to run, 37-23 our score in favor of the Panthers. If you're just now tuning in, 6 minutes remaining and counting. As Dumas is going to hand this one off to Ahmad again to the left side. And he's going to be brought down, but not before gaining another first down for the Panthers. Keep the engine rolling, if you will, if you're Panther Nation. Another great run by Ahmad Antoine for the Panthers. As we will have 1st and 10, Panthers moving left to right. As the ball will officially be spotted at the 23-yard line of the Tigers. Panthers continue to take their time, milking the clock. 5:20 now remaining on the game clock. Dumas got 3 receivers to the right and 1 to the left. As Antoine stays in the game at running back for the Panthers. Another handoff to Antoine. Couldn't quite get past the first wave of defenders. He's going to be brought down after gaining 2 yards on the play. Still positive yards for the Panthers. 2-yard run by Ahmad Antoine. That's going to bring up 2nd and 8 for the Panthers. As we have another substitution at running back for the Panthers. Can't quite make out the jersey number just yet. As the Panthers will have 3 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. 4:30 and counting remaining here on the game clock as C.J. Dumas gets the call from the sideline. He's going to hand this one off to the running back to the right side. Going to try to keep his legs moving. He's finally going to be brought down by 2 or 3 Tigers. And that was number 7, Christian Mosley, the other running back, the other veteran running back, finally getting some more action here late in the 4th quarter for the Panthers. He's going to take that one. Only gain of about 1 yard on the play. So that's going to bring up 3rd and 8 for the Panthers. Ball placed at the 22-yard line of the Tigers. Panthers moving left to right. CJ gets the call from the sidelines. 3 receivers to his right. Another handoff to Christian Mosley up the middle. Only gain of about 3 yards on the play. Positive yards for the Panthers, if you will, but not quite enough for the first down. That's going to bring up 4th and about 3 for the Panthers. As the offense is going to stay out on the field as the clock continues to run. 3:20 now showing on the game clock. As the running back Christian Mosley will stay in the game for the Panthers. 3 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. Mosley is going to be offset to Dumas' right. Oh, and the Panthers went with a hard count. May have gotten the Tigers offside as CJ is going to attempt a pass in the end zone. Pass incomplete, but we do have a flag on the play. Now, our question is whether this is going to be offside charge against the Tigers or if this is going to be pass interference. Either way, this penalty should be charged against the Tigers. As they haven't quite made the call just yet, and they're going to call this one pass interference charge against the defense, and that's going to be a 15-yard penalty. So they're going to spot this one half the distance to the goal line, and we're going to have 1st and goal for the Panthers. So exactly what the doctor ordered is cooking up for the Panthers here on this drive, as they're going to try to put an exclamation mark on this ball game with another touchdown with 2:56 remaining here in the 4th quarter. 1st and goal. 2 receivers to the left for Dumas. He's going to hand this one off to Mosley up the middle. He's going to be met right at the line of scrimmage. Couldn't quite get in there. No gain on the play. So now we got 2nd and goal for the Panthers. Clock continues to move as the Panthers are taking their time, as they're only 2 yards until they hit pay dirt. And looks like Christian Mosley will check out the game, and coming in for him will be number 5, Ahmad Antoine. 2:18 and counting remaining on the game clock. As Dumas takes the snap, he's going to hand this one out to Ahmad. Ahmad runs strong to the left side, trying to push his way in. He's going to be met short at the goal line, not quite in. Right at the 1-yard line. Only need 1 yard for a touchdown for the Panthers. But nonetheless, the clock continues to move. 1:45 remaining here in the 4th quarter. As we have 3rd and goal, ball placed right at the goal line. 2 receivers to the left for Dumas. As Antoine will stay in the game at running back, he's going to be offset to Dumas' left. As Dumas takes the snap, this time hands it off to Antoine going to the right side. And he's going to be met by a plethora of Tigers defense. He's not going to get in. And that is going to bring up 4th and goal for the Panthers. So a run play on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd goal, but not enough for the touchdown. As we have stoppage in the play, looks to be a timeout called on the field. Timeout charge against Texas Southern. As we have 1:17 remaining here in the fourth quarter. 37-23 our score in favor of the Panthers. Ball plays right at the goal line. It's going to be 4th and goal when the teams return to the field. And if you're Panthers, this drive couldn't have gone any better than the way that you have drawn it up. They have gone with the run so far here on this drive. It has gotten them all the way down to the goal line, and they were able to shave off time while doing so. So even if the Panthers are unable to score here on this next play, it is safe to say that so much time has came off the game clock. There's only 1:21 remaining here in this ball game, and this may not be enough time for the Tigers to make things happen.
Well, I think it's safe to chalk this one up, Andre. With a minute 31 left, it's going to be 8 in a row for the Panthers. An impressive debut for Coach Bubba McDowell. You got to feel him and the Panthers to pick up the pieces to get started for a new look, new Panthers in fall 2022.
Absolutely, absolutely. The teams have come back out onto the field, so rather the Panthers trying to get a touchdown on 4th and goal, the field goal unit has come out onto the field to attempt this field goal, this cheap shot, if you will, as the ball is placed right at the goal line. As the snap is down, kick is up, and it is good. So now 40-23 our score in favor of the Panthers with 1:18 remaining here in the fourth quarter.
Well, Andre, I had the Panthers winning today, but I was way off on my over-under. I thought it was going to be 41 total points scored between the two of them because of the weather factors and the first game of the season. But the Panthers and the Tigers, for that matter, have blown that theory completely out the water. And I'm glad to see that it's the Panthers on the upper side of this year's battle.
Well, with both teams kind of sticking to their running games on the offensive side of the ball, this second half essentially came down to which defense can stop the opposing team's rushing attack. Because we were wondering if the Tigers were going to come out in this second half, and they was going to be just a little bit more aggressive, mainly through the air on offense, and they did not do that. They stayed with the running game, and the Panthers were able to hold in this second half with the rushing attack of the Tigers.
Yes, sir. So Panthers feeling good. Now, as they have this minute 31 remaining, they'll have to go out now and get ready for the Wildcats next week on the road. It's going to be a tough opponent, but it should be a very interesting game. But you still got a minute 31. You want to stay focused here and don't look too far ahead. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Finish, just take care of business tonight, which they've done that so far. Take care of business tonight, and then we can look forward to next week against Abilene Christian. But you still got to take care of business tonight. As you can hear the marching storm in the background, everyone's excited, and this is likely going to be a 1-0 start for the Panthers to start this 2022 campaign here at Prairie University.
Yes, sir. While there's still a timeout, whatnot, some MEAC scores. Norfolk State falls to Georgia South, and Morgan State falls to Marshall. No, it was Norfolk State falling to Marshall, Morgan falling to Georgia South, and Howard lost to Hampton. I'm sorry, I got tongue-tied for a minute. 31-28. Grambling victorious over Arkansas State. You have Southern all over Florida Memorial. Bethune-Cookman lost to Miami. And you had University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff victorious over the Lane Dragons.
Yes, sir. So it looks like for the most part, the SWAC was able to kind of take care of business in this opening weekend.
Yeah.
Most teams in the SWAC. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. a little razzle-dazzle this weekend.
A little razzle-dazzle, absolutely. So the kick is, yes, sir. So the kick is up, and this was fielded, and he's going to be brought down right at the 20-yard line. So that's where the Tigers are going to set up shop here on this drive here in the fourth quarter with 1:13 remaining here in the fourth quarter. As Body and company are going to try to make some things happen as he has a twin receiver set up. 1st and 10. And this time Body will attempt to pass. He's going to step into the pocket. He has a man to his left looking. That pass is incomplete. As number 9, Xavier Johnson as the intended receiver for the Tigers. That will stop the clock, that incomplete pass. We still have 1 minute and 7 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter, 2nd and 10 for the Tigers.
I'm somewhat surprised that Body is still out there. I know they're going to work on some things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm surprised at that, too. But they look like they may still be trying to work some kinks out as he attempted another pass. This time he's going to be sacked well in the backfield by the Panthers. And that sack will keep the clock rolling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On cue, as I was concerned, Body gets sacked.
On cue, Body gets sacked. We got 30 seconds remaining. And more than likely, that will do it here in today's ball game. Clock continues to run. As this time, Body's going to hand this one off. Nothing special doing. He's going to be popped right at the line of scrimmage. Gaining him about a yard on the play. That's going to continue to move things along here in the fourth quarter. As that clock continues to run, and it looks like we're just going to let this one, well, like I say, we're going to let this one run out, but we do have an injured Panther on the field, so we got an official timeout on the field. Can't quite make out which Panther that is, but an injury timeout nonetheless.
Well, with that timeout, we want to let you guys know that roughly 15 minutes, when we shut the mic down here for this broadcast, we're going to open the mic right back up with the 1876 After Party Post-Game Show. You can check it out live on obnradio.com. Click on the Mike Prince Show link, and you'll catch it right there throughout its entirety. Panthers looking good tonight. Andre sounding good tonight. And hopefully you all are feeling good tonight from the presentation of Panthers broadcast here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at the Mike Prince Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Open Mic Broadcast Network. That ought to be it, Andre.
That looks like that's going to be it. The teams will come back out onto the field, and the clock continues to wind down, and that will do it. 40-23, our final score here in today's ball game in favor of your Prairie University Panthers. As you can hear the sounds of Panther Nation roar as they're excited for the beloved Prairie University Panthers getting their first win here in this 2022 campaign in the 37th annual Labor Day Classic, all the way from Prairie University, better known as the Hill.
Well, Andre.
Yes, sir.
Hey, as they're feeling good, give us your assessments of tonight's performance, man. And who do you give your player of the game to?
I give my player, if I can give my player of the game to Bubba McDowell, I would. Because you're talking about a head coach, his first game here, you already know that there may have been some pregame jitters or anything like that by being your first game as a head coach. But you're talking about a guy who stuck with his play calling, stuck with his game plan here in today's ball game. You can tell that the Panthers were going to come out with a rushing attack regardless of the situation. That's one thing that we notice here. Regardless of a penalty, regardless of a turnover, the Panthers continued with the rushing attack. We don't have any official stats just yet, but I'm interested to see because from my viewing up here, the Panthers may have only attempted 4 passes total. I would give them 5 passes total here in today's ball game. Other than that, it's been the rushing attack of the Panthers between Jaden Stewart, Ahmad Antoine, and even the quarterback who got injured in the third quarter, Treyson Conley, who had 2 rushing touchdowns here in today's ball game, one for 70 yards, Mike. 70 yards for Treyson Conley, And we're hoping that he's feeling better and we'll be ready to go for next week. I'm sure we'll get more information from that this upcoming week. But yes, sir.
No, sir. I think he's going to feel a whole lot better. I think they just kept him out for safety reasons. They already had a comfortable lead. Wasn't no need of pushing the envelope when you didn't need to. You had two quite capable quarterbacks behind them to do it. And for the most part, I got to give a little thumbs up for the offensive line today. Getting things done, being aggressive. They almost played at will against that defensive front for Texas Southern on this evening. And that's a good sign to see, and hopefully even greater as the season develops.
Yes, sir. And another thing we can point out, Mike, when it comes to for the rushing attack for the Panthers, specifically for today's game, it was almost as if they continued with the rushing attack regardless of how many yards were gained for that play. Because it wasn't as if the Panthers were gaining 5, 6+ yards on every rushing attack. Some plays went for 4 yards, some plays went for 5, some plays they were met at the line of scrimmage, and then some plays they were able to kind of scamper for a big 10+ yard gain. But nonetheless, regardless of how many yards they gained, they continued with their rushing attack here in today's ball game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know what? I'm going to go along with you, Andre. We're going to give the player of the game to Bubba McDowell. When you sit back and you look, this man has waited 11 seasons to become the head coach at Prairie View.
Yes, sir.
He came in under Heist Northern. He watched Heist Northern leave. Then came Willie Simmons. He watched Willie Simmons leave. Then comes Eric Dooley. He watches Eric Dooley leave, and he finally gets the opportunity. And only in one game, but what an important game. It's against your rival. As you mentioned, the jitters are there. The emotions are there. Yes, he's a former NFL player, but he's human as well. He knows that some people be for you, some people be against you. Some say it was a good hire, some say it was a bad hire. But at least for this week, it looks like the right hire. Bubba McDowell and the Panthers in the victory lane for the 8th consecutive Labor Day Classic win over the Texas Southern Tigers. Man, what a night for PV Nation.
What a night for PV Nation. What a way to kick off your 2022 campaign for this year. For PV Nation, for the Panther fans, for head coach Bubba McDowell. A lot coming into this ball game, Mike. A lot riding into this ball game. Not just the pregame jitters of being a first-year head coach, but the pregame jitters in comparison to the stakes of this game. Because this is not just a regular football game. You know, this is a rivalry game. It's a Labor Day Classic. Everybody from different walks is coming out to this ball game. We had the mayor, Houston Turner, at this game today as well. So you got a lot of people coming out to support this game. That's just how high of a stakes this game is. So it's a lot of jitters just riding off of that alone. And when you add on being a new head coach on top of that, nothing but excitement and jitters at the same time. And for him to kind of just remain poised, if you will, in his play calling. Because, again, there were times where the Panthers were getting stopped at the line of scrimmage on that rushing attack, and he could have went to the passing game. He could have tried some trickery, this, that, and the third. But he didn't do that. He stuck with the game plan, and because of it, it awarded the Panthers victory here in the 37th Annual Labor Day Classic by a score of 40-23.
40-23 is our final score. Andre, excellent job, my man. Excellent job. Want to give you some closing thoughts on tonight's broadcast, sir.
I'm just excited for what's to come, Mike. I feel like what we got right now is a taste. I feel like Panther Nation got a taste of what's expected to come. If that rushing attack is something that we're expected to see, then there's going to be some excitement. You pointed out the offensive line as well. You can't forget the big guys that's kind of doing the dirty work and kind of pushing people out the way so that the running backs and the quarterbacks and the receivers can get their shine on. So huge shout out to the – yes, sir.
Oh, no, go ahead. Finish.
So huge shout out to the big guys doing their jobs, sticking with their assignments. plugging the gaps that need to be plugged. And then a huge shout-out to the running backs because, again, you had Jaden Stewart, whom we mentioned in our pregame show, who received preseason all-SWAC second-team honors this year, did the dirty work. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, and that's just my remembrance of the game because we don't have any official stats. But I know he had 2 touchdowns on the ground for the Panthers. Treyson Conley had 2 touchdowns of his own as well. And Ahmad Antoine, another running back for the Panthers, also had a touchdown. Christian Mosley, the senior running back, was able to come in and get some action as well. And Bernard Goodwater finally came in at the running back position for the Panthers and got some action late in the 4th quarter. So you're talking about 4 different running backs for the Panthers that are able to get things done, and because of it, that's no wonder why the rushing attack is going to be the forefront of the Panthers' offense so far here in this season.
Absolutely. And with that being said, we want to thank you guys for joining in with us on tonight. Don't forget, next week, Abilene Christian Wildcats will be hosting the Prairie Panthers. You can listen to that kickoff at 7 p.m. here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We want to thank our sponsors on tonight, A Rocket Movers and Storage out of Houston, Texas, Teague's Barbecue out of Spring, Texas, the Panther Backers, Prairie View Athletic Club, Temple of Refuge Ministries, and we also want to thank you, the listener, for joining us on tonight. On behalf of Andre Davis, I am Dr. Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We want you guys to be blessed, stay encouraged, and until the next time, we'll see you on the other side. Don't forget, join me over at obnradio.com at 11 p.m. for the after party coming up right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Good night to all, and to all, a good night.